man, what is up? Welcome back. It is Friday night, and you're here with Crispy from the Average Boys Podcast. It's your boy, and I am here with the elusive, crazy man, the myth, the legend himself. Michael Betancourt has jumped into the show today. Mike, how are you doing today, my dude?
I'm alive and functioning. I think at this point I've guessed it enough that I need a pixel character. That's what we're calling
Yeah. I was gonna say we need to make you guys like the Hulk in the back, dude. Just big and screaming. Since you're taller than all of us, man. You're hulking, man.
Whatever the hell we can get.
Mike, what's been going on, man? Tell me about everything that's been going on in your life. You've been doing some traveling, been getting all over the place, man.
Yeah, all over the place. I have either done the coolest thing I could have done or the dumbest thing. I applied to get my doctorate, a PhD in mythological studies and folklore. So I got accepted into the program with Pacifica Graduate Institutes, and I fly once a month to California to do my residency. Yeah.
So you literally have to go out there to just get your work done too. Like you have to show up in person. Is that like, you have to tell me, is that crazy on the bank account, man?
Oh, it sucks. There's a lot of effort that goes into grants and financial aid and stuff to assist with it, with paying for school. But yeah, I got to pay for my flights. It's the curse of doing this. If I want that PhD, I want to be Dr. Betancourt by the end of this. I got to do it.
Dude, Mike, it's going to suck so bad because then I'm going to have to call you Dr. Mike like all the time, dude.
No,
I'm going to have to call you
like
Dr. Mike.
Sexy or Dr. Pop.
Yeah, it's got to be a cool nickname, right?
Something like that.
You're going to have like a cool like Dungeons and Dragons like title. Like it's got to be something crazy. Like I don't know, because it's like being a doctor in what you're going for it's almost like this like thing of studies of mythology and characters and story development when it comes to like the fantasy writing and like storytelling of that world, right?
Yeah, it's a study in the art of storytelling. We look at myths and religions and legends and folklore and fantasy writing and fiction writing and kind of dissect what makes an actual story, what builds, our religions, our faith, our fantasies, the story of a hero and a villain. And it's quite intense. There's a lot of connections that before I started the program, I kind of had an idea about. You watch enough anime and read enough comic books, you see these things.
Sure.
But now that I'm in this program, I can tell you that comic books are basically a religion these days.
Yeah.
Our comic books are modern mythology. Dungeons and Dragons and all the games that I play are ways to build personal mythos, personal mythological frameworks.
I mean, especially with like something that just recently happened, like with the coronavirus. Like it almost played like an event in people's lives if they actually got into the games. It was actually the only thing they could practically be doing.
Yeah, and it's something that when I applied for the program, they asked me, where does D&D fit in with all this? You keep mentioning the game. I was like, well, I have this theory that you can build your own personal mythology within your group space. A good example is I have a friend. He's a published author named Rick DeLeon, and
nice.
He wrote a novel about a paladin that was the worst in his class, and by dumb luck, he slays a red dragon, and gets called Joseph the Dragon Slayer, and he's given all these ranks and these medals, but the guy's horrible at what he does. He's just bad at it. And he wrote the book, he got it published, it went on sale, and that book is the story of my very first D&D character. I was Joseph the Dragon Slayer. So we made a mythos now. That legend exists within our friend group. I've read that book to my son. That's something that's made a personal mythology. And
what's even crazier is like that idea is like it's a really good format to follow when you have a character that wants to be, I guess, comedy relatable to people. I always thought that would have been a greater story for Boba Fett than what Disney brought out. Like I wanted to be like this because every time Boba Fett had made some type of live action appearance, he always made like a catastrophic mistake, but still got the job done for some reason. Like it's just like a fire hits his jetpack and flies in, but Luke still saves the day or whatever. Like, and then we had the entire Boba Fett series. Like, kind of comparing it to what's going on. Like, I know you haven't seen it yet, but Andor is a new show that's out right now, and Andor's a good, like a fresh breath of air when it comes to Star Wars. So yeah, that accidental hero, the accidental spy, like the Jackie Chan movies back in the day, like it's always a really good way to tell stories. So it's really cool to hear that, like, like a friend of yours wrote a book and it was pretty successful, and then you had your story about it and stuff. So like that's really cool, man. That's really cool when it came to that. But like what is like your end game? Like I know you want to be a doctor. Like who doesn't want to be a fucking doctor, right? Like you're gonna be a doctor of dragons and shit. You know what I mean? Like that's a really cool fucking title. But like what's your end game? Like are you interested in creating stories?
Well, I want to write and all that, but there's a personal gain at the end of this that kind of results from my family history.
Okay.
So I am as anglicized as whitewashed of a Mexican man as humanly possible. Most people think I'm more Russian than I am.
Yeah,
Mexican.
I'm a coconut, man. I'm with you there, buddy. Like I'm white on the inside, brown on the outside.
I don't even got the brown on the outside. I'm just straight up white color. But yeah, no, my family has all these legends and stories that evolve around mysticism and curanderas and brujeria, all the old school beliefs and structures that are kind of fading away. They're being told to us as kids, and no one's doing anything with them. So I would like to get my doctorate and begin the process of documenting all these legends and stories that matter in the Rio Grande Valley and in our cultures. La Llorona, awesome. Lechuzas, and all the stuff that matters for us. There's stories in the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas that just aren't being documented, and we see them all around. Supernatural had a lady in white episode where she was killing men. And we have La Llorona, down here. My personal family has a legend with all the Betancourt males in the family. That the firstborn Betancourt males all have a guardian lechuza.
Oh, okay, real Bruce Lee there. Yeah, so the opposite of Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee had like a guy killing guys in his family. You guys have protectors and shit.
Yeah, the story it goes that we were Spaniard knights at some point, the Betancourt family.
Ooh, I like that.
And we were told to leave Mexico and leave Texas when the Spanish and Mexican War was starting. And we said no. We had married the indigenous women here, the indigenos, and we stayed for love. So we lost everything, lost riches, lost lands. There's actually a area of land in near King's Ranch that was supposed to have been ours apparently and belongs to the East family.
That's awesome though.
Yeah.
So like you guys were like knights and shit?
Yeah, we were knights. We apparently came and helped found Matamoros. And mind you, I have yet to verify it. This is just all the legends that have been told by my grandparents.
That's a cool fucking legend though. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, it gets weirder. So the legend goes on to we stayed and we married, of course, indigenous women, indigenos, and the curanderas and brujas here. Mm-hmm. And one Betancourt male, and it's true to form. Most Betancourts are horny, more lovers than fighters than anything else, and I am no better. But
like that you're like just sharing that real cool. Like I'm horny, man. I'm horny, baby.
Yeah. So we this one Betancourt man apparently cheated on his wife with a woman in white, and she told him that she was a lechuza, and since he slept with her, she was going to take his soul. And he went running to his wife and confessed that he had made the mistake and that he was going to die. So her being a curandera took the sheets that they consummated their marriage on and made a net. So when the lechuza came for him, she caught the lechuza with the net made of those sheets and told her that she was going to kill her. And the lechuza said, well, I'll make you a deal. If you do not kill me, if you spare my life, every firstborn Betancourt male from here on till forever will have a guardian lechuza with him.
Shit, dude.
Yeah, so that's the legend. And mind you, the cynic part of me is like, okay, that's dumb. There's no way I have a guardian witch owl that's floating around.
I was going to say, you look like a Mexican Bleach, man. Yeah. You look like a Mexican Ichigo there, man. You got your little spirit protector lady. She pops out of nowhere doing a sword and shit. Yeah, you're going to have your owl that's always following you. Like
my grandfather passed on the story to my father. My father passed on the story to me. And it's always when we're out at our homes or whatever, and they pinpoint the owls to you. So my grandfather showed me his owls, and he had a pair that were just living in his area. My father has an owl that follows him freaking everywhere. It could be this different owls, whatever. But he pinpointed an owl. I see an owl whenever I'm in the valley living near my home. And then when my son was about to be born, a giant barn owl showed up at my mother-in-law's house and started living there. And she's from Guadalajara, Mexico. So my ex-mother-in-law is a huge believer that brujas and lechuzas are all horrible things. So she warded the house in the old school style to protect from it. So part of me is like, yeah, okay, whatever. It's a story. Another part of me is like, well, that's a really badass story, and it's true. I need to document it. So
I was gonna
that's
say
my
you're
end goal here.
like a Mexican Harry Potter or something, man. You guys got all this shit. And I
I
always
got
tell
the
people
cat
there was
scratched
no
right here.
Mexicans in Harry Potter because that J.K. Rowling knows that shit's real magic, and you don't fuck around with real magic.
Yeah.
They're just like you can't have a little old lady teaching the dark arts with the huevo and the all that shit. You can't have that, man, because people scare the shit out of everybody, dude.
Oh
Like
yeah.
fucking. That's why there's no Mexicans would have just had Glocks and shit. Harry Potter would
Man.
have been a whole different movie. It would have been like
Oh,
a fucking mini series, dude. If there was Mexicans in Harry Potter, they would have just shot everybody,
it
dude.
wouldn't even be Harry Potter. It'd just be like blood in, blood out. Spanish
Yeah, it's gonna be blood in, blood out, right? It's gonna be something like the witch's bruja or some shit like that. I don't know. That's gonna be funny. But yeah, man, that's super fucking cool. Yeah, man. I was watching, I was following your Facebook. I saw your post when you went upstate, and I was like, oh, Mike doing the work. And then you told me, of course, that you had signed up for school, you're getting ready to do your doctrine. And then of course, like we've had you on the show before. We had you on the last time, and you were telling us, of course, about the event that you're hopefully going to be doing soon. That's going to be coming up in a couple of months. It's going to be a monster version or something monster-ish or fantasy.
That event has taken off into crazy levels of changes and things that I can't even legally discuss, which seems to be the answer I always give you. But the show is called Storytellers and Legends. It's
I can't wait, man. I'm super excited.
And I can't even tell you the crazy stuff that we're doing with that yet.
I know I'm super excited, man, and I know you guys are gonna bring the heat, man. Of course, we had Anime Fiesta happen a couple of weeks ago. It was a really cool turnout. You weren't able to go because you were busy doing stuff with school. Of course, we ran into Margaret. Margaret's our homegirl. Saw a bunch of great people, and there was another convention that didn't do so hot that weekend. Also, yeah, I think you've heard all the debauchery and all the crazy stuff. But shout out to those guys for giving it a chance. You know, better luck.
A part of me, so the petty part of me.
Of course, yeah, dude, we all have it, man.
Yeah, the petty part of me is like they should have known better and they got what they got. But the person that's invested in shows, you know, the professional part of me that knows what it takes to do an event like that, feels kind of bad. You know, some of that team really wanted something special, and they produced something different, but they just didn't have the execution. They didn't have the support. You know, they promised a lot of things that didn't happen, and I understand. You know, especially the fact with my experience working with sponsorships and stuff, I get when things fall apart. Yep. But to continue to say that they're going to happen and they don't, instead of saying, hey, this is just the hell that occurred, we're not going to get it. We need to move away from it. We need to kind of right the direction of the ship. Was a bad move, and now they're all fist fighting each other on social media.
Yeah, it was real crazy, man.
Yeah, they shouldn't be doing that, and it's poor showmanship.
I had to. It's real crazy because, of course, like there's been some bad vibes between everybody in the community when it comes to some people from both sides or whatnot. But it got really dicey, man. I started seeing those guys like it's one of those sayings like dog eat dog, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to money, and you lose a lot of it, like a lot of people show their intentions and they show their true face when it comes to that. And sometimes it can be pretty nasty, but it takes into terms the consequence off of going off of something this, I guess this random, because you really don't know if it's going to work or not.
Yeah, no, it's a shot in the dark. And it's the way it explains me. You know, I've been in this game since 2012. So it's been over 10 years of doing this. You know, I started before Ramsey started with this stuff. And, when it comes to, big guns like Ramsey or old guard like myself and Margaret, we know what it is to lose, to financially take that hit. Hit your health, it breaks your heart. You gave a lot to do something. And that's the part of it that, if any of these guys are listening, that they hear that I understand what it meant for them to try and to hurt. Because it kills them a little bit.
Yeah, but, I guarantee it, man. And I don't really know a lot of them in a personal way, but I don't know what it was about me, but I think it was just like my age popped in, and I jumped in when two of the guys were arguing, and I was like, "Hey, dude, just shut up! Like, stop! Like, it's okay. You guys failed. Just stop." Like, I had to like jump in and say something because like everyone was just watching these dudes like bite at each other's ankles with no real like blood drawn. And it's like, hey, dude, like you guys will be okay. It's gonna be all right. If you guys are here and it's 2 days later, you're alive and it's okay. No one came for you, man. Like you're gonna be all right. So I just told them like, hey, man, you know what? You'll have next time.
Yeah, and I saw you had try to have that conversation because it went kind of nowhere with them.
Yeah, it's not gonna go nowhere. No,
yeah,
gonna...
but it's the art of failure, and you could probably sit myself, Ramsey, and Margaret down and have a good 5-hour show on the amount of shit we've had to eat. With shows that didn't do what they were supposed to do, celebrities that cost more than they were supposed to cost, surprises and scares and failures we had to turn into success. And they're all realities of things, but we don't air dirty laundry. We don't let people know
that there's kinks in the armor.
Yeah. You're supposed to treat, and maybe it's the dad coming out, but you're supposed to treat your event like your child. You're a duck paddling water. Above surface, everything looks calm. Everything looks okay. The event was successful because people had fun, all the jazz. And then underwater, we're kicking up a damn storm. We're trying to stay afloat, and no one's supposed to see that part.
Okay, I like that. I really like that.
Yeah, any type of event. I mean, when you're running your school, when you're teaching, fighters, do you have to teach them, self-control and humility and this calming structure so they don't see the internal struggles that they're having in a fight, and then that's where, that show kind of skipped a beat. They let everybody know that they were panicking and drowning and hating each other and accusing each other of horrible things. They're all massively illegal. Just to say something like that without proof, the things that we're accused of is dangerous.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's all deprivation.
Yeah. So it really should have been, the duck paddling water situation. They just didn't do it. And that's kind of heartbreaking.
So like, of course we don't wish anything bad on anybody in the community. I want people to know that, like, that's a number one thing. We want everybody to be successful. If someone gets it before us, then man, good luck on you, man. Like, but we're going to be competitors and we'll be right behind you. So you better keep on your game. You know what I mean? It's not us telling you like, we want you to be unsuccessful. If there was one piece of advice that you would give to the people that ran that convention for their upcoming, if not an event later on, what would you tell them? What would be the one thing that you would be like, hey, just try this?
I would think the main piece of advice that I would give them is something that I had to learn, I think, after the first major event that I had that failed. And that is that tomorrow is another day. The mistakes you've made are there. You own up to them, you admit to them, and you try again tomorrow. That's all you can do. It's just one step in front of the other. And like you said, we don't wish bad upon anybody. It is frustrating to see people doing the same things that we warned others about that would happen if they didn't listen. But that's all right. You didn't listen. Hopefully you learned.
Yeah, it's a learning experience after that.
Yeah, you try again tomorrow. You do what you're going to do. It's the same way, like you said, we're all technically competitors. And I mean, honestly, I think at this point, the older showrunners in the Valley don't consider each other competitors anymore. We're all kind of just cousins. We're all respectful of each other. We know to communicate well with each other. I mean, hell, before I booked my event in February, I called Margaret to make sure she had nothing going on. I called Ramsey to make sure he had nothing going on so we could work around each other. Yeah. There's enough fandom and large enough of a community in the Rio Grande Valley and all of Texas that we all can make money. We just all have to be aware of each other.
Hey, Mom. My mom's in San Antonio. Mom, that's where Mike's from. Mike lives in San Antonio. Yeah, the one thing I would tell them, and it sounds really detailed, is when it comes to working with South Padre Island, think small first. Like, don't go for convention center and all these big things. Like, pick one hotel and host it in a little hotel. Like, host it in the lobby of the hotel. And I know it doesn't sound grand or grandiose. You know what I mean?
But
Bring
that's
in a
where we
couple
all
guests.
started. We all
Yeah.
started in hotel lobbies and conference rooms, and
Mm-hmm.
we had to book individual rooms that have fucking panels in.
But no. But the reason why is because the beach is horrible when it comes to working with anyone.
Oh
Because
yeah.
the beach is successful either way. It doesn't need anything.
Mm-mm.
Like spring break 1 week, then they got everybody's rent for like the whole year at every business there.
Yeah,
Like,
that reminds me. When I used to work for the radio station with your brother,
mhm.
matter of fact, your brother was with me when we had the damn problem. We were going to take, I think it was 107.9 Mix FM's van out there, right?
Mhm.
And South Padre Island told us you cannot have your lights on
Yeah,
unless you're
they
within
do
a
not give a shit,
specific
dude.
footprint. We had to get the Army had booked us to be out there, so we had to take a damn measuring tape and measure as far out as we can go and park the van in that spot, and that's the only place the lights could be on. No music, just the lights.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, South Padre Island is an island of Karen. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's just a Karen island. Like, it doesn't play well. It does not play well with anybody. So, like, when I had first heard that they were going to do some type of convention there, I was like, oof, man, it's going to be rough. Like, it's going to be rough because the beach is already successful. What are you going to bring to them and be like, we're going to make it better? It's like, dude, we're a beach. Like, we don't have anything. Like, I was literally talking because we do a lot of boxing matches and we've done MMA fights out there. Like, we've done a bunch of stuff with like the beach area. And literally, when we do beach stuff, it's always like, oh, we're just going to do a boxing match in the back of Louis' backyard.
Yeah.
Like, why book the whole convention center and try to get the city involved when the city's going to be like, well, your boxing equipment and everything needs to be out by 10 p.m. Like, well, the event ends at 9:45. Yeah, well, you need to have that closed down because the bird watchers, the 80-year-old bird watchers, have an exhibit to show their pictures off the following morning, and they don't care. Like, they just don't. And that's kind of like the luxury of having a place like South Padre Island. Like, they're successful with or without it.
Yeah.
And nothing works. Nothing works. If no con's gonna go out there and maximize it, because if Schlitterbahn got closed down, and Schlitterbahn has been a successful franchise in San Antonio for fucking what, 30, 40 years?
About, yeah.
Yeah, and it lasts like 3 years at South Padre Island and got closed down. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it does not work. If that won't work, nothing is gonna work. That's like a mom and pop. Bars, dude, bars, dime a dozen, man. Dime a dozen at South Padre Island. They come and go just like downtown McAllen, man.
The best point, that Clayton's fireworks are the only damn thing that sticks around for that fucking place.
And you know what? Like, Clayton's, it's ballsy, and I don't know if it's someone who owns Clayton's that probably like is connected very well with the politics of the city, but they had the opportunity to build that pier out on their own thing. That's dynamically changing the environment of the beach. Like, that kind of already looks like out of Valley-esque. It's building the environment, which the Valley, I've always told people, like, it needs more development to create this, like, this look for the area. It's so plain and bland. I don't know. It's boring. It's boring.
The Valley is about 7 to 10 years behind everywhere else.
Oh, yeah.
When I travel for events or school now, like, I land in Santa Barbara, California for school. And that place is built out as a vacation place.
Oh, yeah.
I took a taxi to the hotel I stay in for school because they set us up in hotels instead of dorms and all that jazz. And the taxi driver was like, yeah, nobody was from here before COVID. People from Los Angeles and all the bigger cities came here for vacation and then went back. And I was like, but now, people are moving here because they don't got to work in offices anymore. So we're starting to see this huge explosion of vacation style, resorts and things I didn't see before, but it's still light years ahead of anything we have for the year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Valley's going to always be behind when it comes to that stuff. It's super crazy. But yeah, Mike, it's good to hear that you're doing some good stuff with your doctrine. How long do you have before we start calling you Dr. Big Mike?
As long as I keep doing the schoolwork and I can figure out my dissertation, it'll be 3 years. So 2 years from now, I'll be Dr. Michael Betancourt, PhD in mythological studies and folklore.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations. I can't wait, dude. I can't wait. I'm going to be there with a fucking sign. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna play D&D with a doctor now. It's gonna be a fucking sign and shit. Well, you're not an average guy anymore. You're not an average boy. Now you're above average.
Yeah, above average boy.
I want to give a shout out to everybody in the comment section. Thank you guys for jumping in. Robert, Vince, Gabe, thank you guys for jumping in. Georgie, Alex, my mom jumped in from San Antonio. Mom, how's it going? And Sal, good to see you guys. As you guys know, Brian is not here today. He was going to take a mental break day for his mind. He was like, "Yo, my friends are gonna party, and I want to party." And Brian, the boy can party. He can party like a man. So he was like, "Yo, can you get it for me today?" And I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna hit Mike because I haven't heard from Mike, man. I have not heard from you in a very, very long time. And there are some very interesting things that I want to talk to you about. So that's gonna be coming up on the show today. First, we'll put it out there first. We got some sad news today in the news. Actually, this happened, I think, today. It was from today, right?
Yeah, today.
Robbie Coltrane, who is the person who played Hagrid from Harry Potter, has passed away. So good man, good actor, did amazing jobs in all his works. And we were talking about this post show. We were talking about this pre-show. I'm sorry. How it was so. I mean, it was so like, I mean, out of this world. I mean, almost when he was on the Harry Potter reunion, and he had mentioned that he was like, that he was. I mean, he looked a little bit older, and you kind of expected to have this like, nah, man, don't talk like that. You're gonna be here for a long time. Angela Lansbury. We were just talking about her too. 96 years old, 98 years old. Yeah, man, oldest World War I veteran ever. Angela Lansbury.
With Robbie Coltrane being on that Harry Potter special, and him saying that he knew he wasn't going to be around much longer, but Hagrid would be here 50 years from now.
That's so crazy.
Is so profound and prophetic. Like he knew where he sat with his health and his time, and you could hear it in his voice that acceptance that he did what he wanted to do. He left that legacy behind for his grandkids and families down the line. They can say, as long as Harry Potter exists, as long as Hagrid exists, I'm still here. And what an accomplishment, there, to know that you left behind an entire generation of children that are adults now, that are having children of their own, that are showing them those movies, reading those books, and forever your image, a member of the Coltrane family, Robbie will be Hagrid. And even myself, like I don't want to say I'm the biggest Harry Potter fan. I did read all the books, but watching him perform, I can't remember which movie specifically it is, but they're taking away, I think it's Buckbeak, the hippogriff that he has out there, because it scratched Malfoy. And he's sitting in his home and he's crying that they're going to kill Buckbeak. And, that's raw emotion from somebody that's, reacting to a green screen effect.
Yeah, it's so fucking crazy. Like how
you felt that in that movie. And, that's the legacy he left behind. The love for his craft, the ability to be a world star actor and a comedian. He did great stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I just remember like him doing, of course, there's the meme of "you're a wizard, Harry," and all this stuff. Like, he's such a crowd pleaser, such a family favorite. And, it's sad, of course, to see him go. And of course, like during the freaking reunion, when he was talking about all that stuff, I think he was like partnered up with Granger, right? Or what's that girl's name? Harmony Granger. But her real name is Emma Watson, right?
Yeah.
And like she just started to tear up, or I forgot like who it was that he was sitting with, that he said that, and they were like, "Oh, don't say that," and all this stuff. And it really brought a lot of memory back when Chadwick Boseman was, doing interviews and all that stuff. And there would be times that he would say those kind of profound things where like, it was right after, of course, Infinity War. And someone was like, "What's up for Black Panther? Is he coming back?" And he's like, "I'm dead." Like, and it was so like, I don't know, it was morbid to hear it. And then of course, after he passed, and to go back and hear it and watch it, I don't know if that was like his own way of almost like just being able to finally say it in a way, but not be like so direct about it.
I think so, because looking back now, you can look at all the interviews with Chadwick and the rest of the Avengers, and you'll see moments where like Paul Bettany will grab him from the shoulder to make sure he's still awake, or they'll help him get down from places. And at the time when we were singing, we weren't aware,
yeah, we weren't aware of it. We were just
they were just being cool with him, like, oh, he's just tired from all the travel or something.
Oh, you're talking about when they did the big picture, and he was falling asleep in the chair.
Yeah,
and someone reached over to touch him to see if he was like
Vision reaches in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I fucking remember that. And I remember like when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like some brotherly love. And I remember how much harder it hit me after he passed away.
He's fighting cancer, going through chemo.
Oh,
and if you look back now, I think it was a way for, guys like Chadwick, and Robbie to go through the acceptance of their fate. They knew it was going to happen and that it was going to hurt people no matter what, but it was okay. They did what they were going to do. They left something behind people will love. I mean, hell, when the Black Panther 2 trailer came out, and No Woman, No Cry came out.
The song?
Like it hurt me to hear, because it's such an odd song to dissect due to dialect, because we hear No Woman, No Cry in basic English, right? And that means, okay, if you don't have any woman, you're not going to cry. There's that interpretation. But in the Jamaican culture, in the culture, that Bob Marley comes from, the way they speak in their dialect is more splintered. So it's like, no woman, no cry. So he's telling her, don't cry.
Yeah, don't cry.
You could pass to the next the stage in life, and that's what hit so hard for me, because hearing that song made the entire trailer so different. I remember meeting Ziggy Marley when he came to the Valley years ago, and him talking about what his father meant, to a generation of people, and what he's trying to do with his music and all that. And just that weird life experience, and hearing the song for Black Panther and what Chadwick left behind it's amazing.
Are you excited for the Black Panther, man?
Hell yeah, I'm excited for Black Panther. Of course I am.
I must ask, how do you feel about, now that we've got a couple, they asked me this last week, because I was hating on Namor for a real good minute. How do you feel about the Namor character now that we've kind of got it a little bit more fleshed out with the trailers, and we have Variety releasing photos, we have Rolling Stones, we have different entertainment outsources that are releasing more content with the character and the costume and up close and personal? Like, how do you feel being, as myself, a longtime comic book fan of Marvel, and knowing that Namor has almost 30, I think it's like 50 years of comic book history? Yeah, how do you feel with the race change and the development of the character so far into the MCU?
I think the race change makes sense for our social political climate now. A white Aryan Atlantean hero would make sense if he had made this movie in 1990. But now we have so much culture, to pull from, so many stories that weren't seeing representation before, with this almost Aztec Mayan, this South American adjacent storyline that they're pulling in, allows you to see, legend and history that this wasn't shown. We didn't hear about Quetzalcoatl and those Aztec and Mayan gods, but they were massive, creatures and, massive stories in this land. And it does lend credence to, a underwater culture. We have places like El Dorado that exists down there, the Fountain of Youth, all these amazing stories to pull from. And it makes me excited. We're going to see a very unique take on Namor that I do believe will be a representative of the character himself. He will still be that overconfident,
I hope so, man.
Atlantis, but not. And we still got the freaking wings on his ankles. I mean, I can't complain with the way he looks. I mean, aside from being, Latino, I mean, he's Namor to me. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I think the way that they, at first when we heard that it was going to be a Hispanic character or a Latino, I think the idea is that, and I try to explain it to Brian, because Brian's the one's like, dude, he's like, nah, dude, you're thinking too much about this. Like, when it comes to the Hispanic culture and the Latino culture, like, we don't really think of the ocean as being a part of our history. Like lakes and bodies of water, maybe. But of course, like the ocean itself, and being that Atlantis and, the story of underground cities, like it's very, very, like, it's niche. And I know that like El Dorado has an interesting story of being like underground and all this other stuff. But it's very, very niche. The story of like Mexico being built on a lake
Mm-hmm.
is more of a story of like the water culture that we live in, to me, more than the Mayan culture being a part of the ocean. But again, we had that weird, I mean, people that don't really know history think the Mayans went with aliens, or they fucking think they just disappeared from one day to the next. And
Yeah.
they don't know that when the Spaniards came in and they messed up all the fucking, like, all the what is it, the sanitation for like the toiletries, and that they kind of ruined the area for the people, and they did it on purpose so they can have them nomadically move away from places and start to capture them and slave them and stuff like that. So I mean, it's just in history we know, but people that don't, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, like George, aliens, some dude with fucking goofy hair and shit. But when they started releasing pictures, and I'll never forget Rob in the comment section, Rob Flores, he sent us a picture that was super pixelated, and he's like, oh man, look at it was like HBO at night when you were like 13, pixelated, like just like you couldn't see shit. And I remember he sent it to, and I was there looking at it and using my Adobe Photoshop to try to like clear it up as much as, because I was like, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? And then you could slowly see the pieces coming together. You can see the squaring shapes of like the Mayans, the neck piece, the big lines, like the big calendar of the Mayans and stuff. And I was like, okay. And then we got a clear picture and he looked fantastic. And in my mind, I was like, can you imagine? In my mind, I was not thinking that Marvel, this company that's had 12 years, 11 years of creating every character that I've ever loved and have brought nothing but awesome costumes. Being that I'm a cosplayer and being that my best friend's a cosplayer and we do crazy costumes and shit, knowing that those costumes individually, every one of them is amazingly made, that I doubted that shit. And then in my mind, I was like, well, he's not going to look like the comic books where he just wears a fucking loincloth. In the comics, he just wears a green little like spandex tights. Yep. And that's what I was complaining about. At least he's got a badass necklace and fucking cuffs now. Like he's not just running around in fucking Speedos, dude. Like he's got some cool shit on now. I'm excited.
Yeah, I am think, super fucking excited. The comic book that makes me laugh every time I say it, I think it's back in Civil War that Sue leaves Reed.
Oh yeah, dude.
And Namor shows up to Sue. And he's just there in his fucking green and yellow banana hammock, all seductively standing in the rain.
Like, what's up, girl?
Yeah, and she looks at him. She goes, "I'm still married." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's."
Dude, he didn't care. He didn't care. I wonder if they're gonna be that way when they introduce a Fantastic Four. I wonder if he's gonna be all like, "Oh, baby, what's up?"
I hope so. I hope Sue is the blondest woman possible. We got that Mexican man trying to hit that gringa.
Dude, I really do, man. So. I really hope he's like super heartthrobbing over Sue Storm. And it's crazy because back in the day, a lot of people, if you didn't read Namor, you would understand that he's like, okay, he's Aquaman of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, dude, like Aquaman was definitively a dude that was like, he first started off as like a dick. And then he just became a king and he was just a king. Like that's not Namor would literally like come up and be like, yo, I'm going to help Captain America. And then the following week be like, yo, I'm going to beat up some thugs in New York. And then the following week, he's like, I'm going to kidnap Sue Storm. Like this dude was a menace, dude. He was nothing of a dude. Like he was all over the fucking place. He's flavor of the week, man.
Yeah. I still remember comics where like Doom is fighting the Fantastic Four. And then you get that big screen of Imperious Rex.
Yeah, Imperious Rex.
Riding this fuck all
dolphin or some shit.
Dolphin whale monster for some damn reason. And he's
just out of nowhere, he just comes in and fucking sucker punches Doom.
Yeah.
And then he just lands and he's like, yo, can I have a cup of milk? Like, it's like, hey, bro, you hit me in the mouth, asshole. Like, what are you even doing here? Like, we're doing villainy shit. And I don't care. I'm Namor, man. Like Imperious Rex, give me some bread. I gotta go home. Yeah. I got some shit to do. He was a menace. He really was, man.
Yeah,
but to see that the introduction to Namor is gonna be like Black Panther is good. Like I think that's super fantastic. Who would win, Namor or Aquaman? Namor in the comics, comics-wise, Namor.
Marvel versus DC in the comics answered this, and they gave it to Aquaman.
I don't know how. Namor is like Hulk strong.
Yeah, they fought each other, and it was when Aquaman had the harpoon hand for a while. I think it's his left hand, whatever.
Yeah,
somebody cut
off his hand, cut off.
Yeah, and I think they're in the DC universe fighting. Aquaman summons this big whale monster thing, and it just belly flops and squishes Namor. It's the cheapest ending ever, but they gave it to Aquaman.
I don't know how that works. His name was strong as fuck.
Someone has it right. It was voted on by the fans. The fans voted for
Yeah,
Aquaman.
they killed Jason Todd, my dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like the fans killed that fucker too, man. So I wouldn't really go with that action.
Yeah, I gotta give credit to Jorge here, with him mentioning Mr. Nimbus.
Mr. Nimbus from Rick and Morty.
The extent of what Namor does for pop culture. Even Mr. Nimbus being a dumbass arch nemesis to Rick Sanchez was still a pretty badass villain.
Yeah, he was a badass character.
And hyper sexualized. Yeah. To like the level that Namor alludes to in the comics every single time.
That's more like Star Fox Eros. Yeah, that's more like his variation. Yeah. But yeah, dude. You know what? As a matter of fact, I'll put this on fucking writing, dude, right now. That Mr. Nimbus and Rick and Morty season 5 was the best thing. The rest of the season was just fucking trash, dude. It was so bad. So fucking bad, dude. I hated that season so much.
Instead of controlling fish, he's like, be careful, he controls the cops.
Yeah, he controlled the cops. And he didn't even control them like with powers. He just controlled them because he's just banging everybody or whatever. Yeah, or he just owns everybody.
He did what he wanted,
yeah, that's super funny, man. But have you been watching the new season of Rick and Morty? It's great.
I have not. I have to be very, very selective with what I'm watching. So my nerd heart is currently watching The Rings of Power. I'm watching House of the Dragon, She-Hulk, Werewolf by Night. There's a couple other series that I'm watching. I can't remember right now. I still have to finish Cobra Kai, and I haven't finished it all. Yeah, I got to be very selective.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we'll be talking about most of that shit you just actually talked about just right now. Actually, I was going to ask you, have kind of sidetracking. We'll come back to Marvel in a little bit, but knowing that you're a big guy in nostalgia and you're very particular about certain franchises, have you seen the trailer for the new Super Mario Brothers?
I have seen the trailer.
Dude, what did you think?
The trailer, so like everybody else, I want to shit on Chris Pratt because it's Chris Pratt doing a Chris Pratt impersonation pretending to be Marvel. Like there's no Italian.
What did he say? Here we go, or what did he say?
Yeah.
He said some
We're
shit.
On the way, or whatever.
On the way, or since like, I was like, man, dude.
The fucking telenovela version of that could have done that way better. That orale or something at least, God.
I think it's just like certain words are probably going to be super fucking hard to pull off and shit. Yeah. They're going to be like Chris Pratt in the in this version. You have to say you want some ramen soup in Mario's voice, and he's going to be like, I've never heard him say that in the video game.
Yeah, like,
what's
hey,
my reference?
You want some ramen soup?
Hey, you want some ramen soup? He's going to just say hey. He's going to just be like this the whole time with his hands too. Hey, that's all it's going to be, man. And then that's the fucking 90s Mario Brothers movie.
Yep. I mean,
dude, I really hope we get reference.
Yeah.
I really hope we get reference to the 80s Mario movies or the 90s Mario Brothers movie. I fucking hope so, dude.
There's a picture of Dennis Hopper. That's the first thing.
Fucking, what was the other guy's name? The pest? Dude, I forgot his name. God damn it. Dude, I hope they like have to find like a room. Oh, you know what? I just hope like they open a room and it's like, oh, we need weapons or whatever, and they open it and you see the boots.
Oh,
like the stupid fucking boots were so cool. Man, John Leguizamo, there you go. Thanks for. I just totally just like it blinked, but like I hope they open a door and it's like Luigi's like or the water backpack from the Mario Sunshine game, the Luigi vacuum, and then like the fucking boots from the Mario Brothers movie are there. I would freak the fuck out. I would be so happy if they went that way.
I do give it to the trailer for making me feel bad for throwing every damn penguin off the cliff in Mario 64. Because those little penguins open up hell.
I was gonna say, like, I don't know, but like, if you watch the trailer when the king is like, give him hell, or I don't know what the fucking king says. The guy on the right, the penguin on the right of him, like on his left side, our right side of the screen, like screams in the air and his eyes separate, dude. Yeah. And I was like, this fucking penguin is nuts, dude. Like, I want a movie about that penguin. That was literally the best fucking part, like in the whole movie. Like, I'll just watch it just to see the penguins now, and I want to see how they got their fucking kingdom. Like, I want to see their war. I want to see like where they assume that they were bringing some heat with that shit. Yeah. I want to see who they conquered. Yeah, man, fuck that noise. I want to see that. But
the voice actor for that King Penguin, I mean, it's Kerry Payton, the guy that voices Cyborg.
Oh yeah, he's like. If you come to us, I'll give you hell, or what does he say? Such a deep. I was like, fuck, dude.
Yeah, do you submit or something real intense? It's like, no, I don't. And I gotta give it to
show him. Don't let him see sunlight or whatever. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. And they're just scooping up snowballs and shit. I was like, fuck out of here, man. Dude, this is fantastic. Dude, I'm stupid excited for the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch the hell out of it. You know, I was unsure of Sonic when they were pitching Sonic the first time.
Yeah.
My son was adamant that we go watch it. And sweet Jesus, I loved that movie. And as soon as the second one was coming out, we went and saw that thing opening weekend. I mean, how I bought the collectible shirt for my son and the popcorn bucket. We were down.
I have to ask though, like, do you prefer, now that we're getting a Mario Brothers movie and they're doing it all CG Pixar style, do you prefer that variation for these type of films, or are you cool with like the Detective Pikachu and Sonic movie where they allow characters CG in human worlds?
So for the other ones, I'm cool with CG and live action mixed together. The only way, and this is just showing my age, the only way I'd be cool with this for Mario and a Mario movie is if they did it like the Super Mario Super Show cartoon.
Hey, Luigi.
Where they had two live action guys like, talking about the story in an apartment.
Fucking and what, Ron Jeremy is Mario or whatever. Dude, just, hey, what's up, Luigi? Hey, what's up, Mario? Like, they're just some fucking horrible actors, dude. That was like bad, man. And I will tell everyone this, and I told you this before the show too. There is an episode of this TV show that when you go to it, you guys can check it out, where you go to it. It's Luigi tells Mario, oh, hey, Mario, you dropped some spaghetti on your suit or something. And he's like, oh, fuck you, Luigi. Like, he just says, fuck you, Luigi, like on the show for kids. And they let it air. They let it air with him being like, oh, fuck you, Luigi. Like, and I was like, hey, no way. No way. But I was like, yeah, like it was a wrestler that was the actor or some guy, right?
And I can't remember his name to save my life right now, but he was a prominent wrestler. And he left with the same fame that Sergeant Slaughter started when he went to do G.I. Joe. So that's why you have episodes where Sergeant Slaughter guest stars on the Super Mario Super Show.
George knows. Well, fuck me, Luigi. Yeah, dude. He literally, you can hear it. It's so fucking prominent, dude. Captain Lou. Captain Lou. Go. Thank you, Sal. That's fucking legit. Yeah, dude. He literally is like, oh, fuck me, Luigi. Like, it's so good, man. It's so good. But yeah, that would be, and it needs to have those references because, of course, the idea of nostalgia is such a cool thing. Like nowadays in film, like Mario Brothers needs to reference this shit
off of nostalgia. It's all Stranger Things. Cobra Kai is doing. Hell, they had the girl from Teen Witch in the latest season of Cobra Kai, and
even Hocus Pocus made its return. Yep. Hocus Pocus 2, and they even had the little girl from Hocus Pocus play an adult witch in the show, and I was like, what, dude? That's the same girl. Like, she's a grown ass lady. Like, she's like, what the hell? People get AIDS. People age. What the fuck is going on? I was so freaked out. What's up, my dude Ham? What's up, my boy? Yeah, but I'm super excited, man. I think the Mario Brothers movie looks good. Now, of course, the character Mario, we're making fun of it right now, but I mean, big ups on them. They're all doing good, and I think it's going to be a great cast. I think everybody's going to do a great job. Comedically, Chris Pratt has never done wrong, and he sells everything comedically. So, I mean, if they can make it fun, I'm fucking down. Being that it's Chris Pratt and Jack Black,
Chris Pratt and his politics thing and all that jazz, they're annoyed with all that.
Yeah,
but, I mean, he hasn't done bad with comedy. Guy's genuinely funny. He really is. So, I mean, we'll have to wait to give it a shot. I know I'm going to watch the hell out of it.
Oh, I'm going to watch the fuck out of that movie.
Yeah, every one of the voice actors that's participating, they're all great in their own right. I mean, Jorge said, he hears Jack Black as Kung Fu Panda, as Poe, as Bowser.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Jack Black was amazing as Poe. I love him in those
movies.
It
is good.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those things, like, we did see earlier this week that the famous, well-known Tara Strong, voice actress, she's done everything from Harley Quinn to Miss Minutes in Marvel. She's literally the voice actress of everything female, like, blonde, beautiful pretty woman. At this point. She's everything. She's everything. Yeah, she's a great person.
To a damn pony. She's everything.
Yeah. So she came out and was very voiced about how it's not fair that the original voice actor of Mario isn't Mario in the film. But of course, if you've been catching up with the film, you know that he at least has some honorary role in the part. Like he is honorarily in the movie. Now, of course, there's a lot of people that are giving backlash, a lot of people that are talking, and a lot of people don't know that we are just people who buy the stuff. Yeah. Literally, Mario is owned by a company called Nintendo. And Nintendo is very fucking thorough at exactly what they want. And they're not going to bring out their biggest franchise and then be like, oh, fuck, we're going to get someone we really hate to be Mario. No, they're going to bring in heavy. And the reason why they do it is because if you were to put the name of the voice actor for Mario, people who love the franchise and know who the voice actor is are going to be like, oh, cool. But if you bring in Chris Pratt, Jack Black, Key from Key and Peele, like if you bring in all these different actors that huge names that are in blockbuster movies, who would you choose? That was the same effect that they had with Ghost in the Shell. Yep. When everyone was like, yo, why didn't they bring an Asian actress? Why did they choose Marvel's Black Widow that makes billion-dollar movies, Scarlett Johansson? And it's like, well, because she agreed, and the director and the person who made Ghost in the Shell was like, fuck yeah, I got Scarlett Johansson in my film.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's very difficult. And a lot of people are kind of like, I guess kind of like put this with the way the Sonic movie was. And there's a difference. Sonic that had separated eyes and teeth looked fucked up. Like that was like a shit show. Yeah. And it was such a shit show that the movie made fun of itself. Yeah, like Chippendales made fun of it later. The company, the CG company was like, hey, we fucked up, dude. Like we fucked up. And now look at you all. You all want to see a movie with ugly ass Sonic in it. Look at you motherfuckers, dude. You all complained you didn't want him, and now you want him. It's too bad you can't get the king now. You know what I mean? Like that was so funny though, man.
Like win an Academy Award or something.
Yeah, and then he got a show with like cops and shit.
Yeah.
That was so great. But that's the thing. Like, this isn't like a mistake. Like, the character doesn't look great. Like, it's just that there is a political thing, and I don't think it's going to be a big problem. But just remember that if they choose to remove or replace Chris Pratt with the like the voice actor, like the original voice actor, which is great if they do decide to go that way, that's pretty cool. They're going to have to do that across the board because then that's not fair to the other voice actors that you all don't know the names of. Like Mario has a whole cast of them, dude. Okay, Robert said he sent me a surprise. Uh-oh, I want to see this. I can't watch it right now, my dude. He sent me a video. It's like a TikTok. Oh, he sent me the fucking thing. Oh, fucking Luigi. Good shit, man. Good shit, my guy. That's great. I love my fucking comment section. George, let's see. Ham. Let me see. What about a Donkey Kong movie? Ah, man, that wouldn't be too bad.
You know, I got to give it to Ham, and I think somebody else mentioned it a little earlier. Vince, Mario versus Sonic. We could be seeing the early buildings of a Smash Brothers universe.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we got Detective Pikachu out there already. We got Sonic. You know, all these guys are in Smash Bros. And I mean, Nintendo owns the vast bulk of these properties. I would watch that.
And not only to mention that Kingdom Hearts is probably one of the biggest fucking franchises that Disney now owns.
Yeah.
When it comes to this, so they're gonna want to make, because they're not really working with Square Enix anymore with Kingdom Hearts. They're kind of like, okay, cool, we did our films and our games, like we're gonna separate. And now they have this venture with Sora, who is now a member of the Smash community.
Yeah.
So like it's I think it's coming in. I think Smash Brothers is coming, but like the Smash story is a little bit off, but I think they can make it work.
You know, honestly, I would probably go with the first game storyline with that Master Glove thing.
Yeah, Master Hand
creator. Yeah, Master Hand.
Yeah, Master Hand.
And these characters are pulled from these universes by this unknown being, and they have to beat it.
Or even they had Giga Bowser and Ganon. Yeah, they had Ganon. They had a bunch of cool characters that they modified to make them into like these cool villains.
Yep.
I'm still waiting. Of course, there's a lot of talk right now about a Zelda movie. There's been a bunch of like fan made pictures of like
I thought the Tom Holland one looked
Tom Holland as Link and Emma Watson as Zelda. Like there's a lot of cool, like, you know, they got some push for this stuff. But I think with the iteration that we're gonna get with Mario and the success that we've had with the two Sonic films, I think that's really going to push us in the right direction. I think I just saw in the comments a little while ago, Vince put, what about a Samus Aran movie, Metroid?
Oh,
I would
awesome.
love to see a Metroid movie done by Ridley Scott.
A Metroid movie, that's a horror film.
Yeah, done by Ridley Scott, dude.
Yeah, oh man.
Yeah, that would be can you imagine Metroid done by the guy who made Aliens?
Oh,
that would be legit. Or even like the guy who made Predator, like the new team that just did Predator. I'd be down to see that shit. Yeah. What I would like to see is a Punch Out movie. I would like to see a Mike Tyson's Punch Out movie.
I would watch a Punch Out movie as a series, as like a Hulu series.
Ooh, yeah, like the Kingdom one, the MMA movie. Yeah, like the MMA series, the Kingdom.
Exactly.
Kingdom
so he goes from match to match. He gets his ass kicked. He meets Glassjaw Joe and all those guys.
That would be legit, dude. Because sooner or later we'd actually get like a really cool remembrance of having Macho Man.
Yep.
Yeah, like, oh, dude, that would be so cool. I would be so down. Just to see all these characters come to life would be so cool.
Yes, sir.
I'm super down.
We're in that era now where we're finally starting to see the things that we love turning into something. Oh, Ham, don't do that to me.
Fuck yeah, dude.
The Star Fox movie. God,
that would be good because that would be like
you could
like
just
a Star Wars
Star Fox 64 story, and I'd be all for it. I'd be just down.
Damn, that would be legit. That would be hell of a legit. You know, the couple of films, of course, we've talked about video games before. Yeah. Tekken just got a new series, right? It got a new animated series, which isn't too bad. Street Fighter is getting a new release of
Tekken, dude. Tekken, aside from every fight they had being a damn near choreographed fight from the game itself, that story was weak sauce. Like,
dude, it's horrible. The game literally consists of a dude telling his grandson or his child, I'm going to make you stronger, and then throws him into an active volcano.
Yep.
Like, that's the fucking story.
Yeah. So, dude, the story did nothing for me over and all that shows. I was like, this does nothing. But the fights were great. And
in Tekken 5, man. Tekken 5, Hayahachi's going through the fucking building to kick his son's ass, Kazuya's, and a dude shoots a rocket launcher at it, and he fucking kicks it out of the sky, dude. Like, high blocks it like a fucking karate class.
That spark that they get every time they do
dude, and I was like, fuck out of here, man. Dude, I cannot watch this. It's stupid. The storylines of those games are so dumb. And that goes with like Street Fighter 5, Street Fighter 6. Is that the one that just came out? Ham, you gotta let me know if it's 5 or 6. In the story, when you're playing and you get to like the very end, you're getting to like M. Bison's like hideout, and everyone's just fist fighting, and all the guards don't have any guns, and everybody's just getting their fucking asses kicked, and you're like, yo, did you just like cut the budget or what? Like, why don't these guards have guns?
One like the taser or something.
Yeah, some fucking give him a baton.
You got all these super soldiers fist fighting, and like the one guy from Walmart security is packing more heat than these guys.
Fucking wild. Everyone's just like, dude, you just brought in the strongest fighters in the world, and you have them rostered in a tournament. But you got the fucking Dollar General security guards that are gonna stop him. They're gonna stop him in a fist fight. What the fuck?
A beanbag shotgun or something.
Dude, give a guy a beanbag gun, man. Goddamn, a slingshot, something, dude.
I know a water gun with soapy water to fucking fill it with Nile or something. Jesus.
Those stories will always be technically bad. Mortal Kombat, come on, man. Mortal Kombat, like it was so bad. Like the characters had to go back in time to like they added time travel because they just couldn't get the shit right by the end. It wasn't just hey, it's a tournament, we got to kill each other and the last guy wins. It just couldn't be simple. It just could not be simple. But the one thing that I love, and Ham's my dude. He's Games by Ham. We got a big ass tournament coming up. We got a big ass competition, NanoCon, coming up on the 29th. It's gonna be awesome at the 80s break.
I got a bone to pick. Every time you all do these damn events, I have to be somewhere else.
Where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna go?
I'll be at school. I'll be out of the States when you're doing this.
I'm going to live feed it. I'm going to put you and Brian there as televisions. I already told Brian. Because Brian's in Jersey. I'm going to put him as a push cart television. And I'm just going to have him be at the event with us. King's character in the comic, in the story, is like my favorite, but he's such a side character. He's such like a dude that's so hard to work with because everything he does is like by grab. And it's so fucking hard to grab people nowadays because everybody knows the retreat. But like, it's literally his story's Nacho Libres. Like he's a dude. He's a fucking wrestler from Mexico. He's got an orphanage of just some random fucking kids, and he just goes and fights for money.
Most of his moves are the same moves Nacho Libre.
Yeah, Nacho Libre does, dude. It's so good, and it's literally all based on the cat tiger face wrestler from Mexico.
Yeah, the actual
And
guy
the
that that's
Japanese wrestlers too are
yeah.
all the same stuff. Yeah, dude, it's so good. So fucking good. I'm super hyped about it. And not only to mention that, like Tekken Kazuya just got introduced to Smash Brothers also.
Yep.
Like, not only to mention that, fucking Ryu and Ken are there.
Yeah,
And then not only
Terry
that,
Bogard
Terry fucking Bogart is beating the shit out of Jigglypuff. Like, it's Jigglypuff. Like, he's fucking beating the shit out of Jigglypuff. I love it, man. To have a Smash Brothers game would be a movie would be so fucking rad. Oh, but you know what? I think it would be better if it was like a Wreck-It Ralph game. Like, where it was like where all of these characters consolidate into like the Super Bowl of fighting, and all of them come together from all the different franchises in a network, and all of them have to fight each other. And it's just like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, oh, hey, look, there's Mario over there. Oh, fuck, look, it's Mr. Game & Watch, and he's like making bacon in the corner and shit. You know what I mean? Like, I think it'd be cool. And then Master Hand be the fucking dude.
Would only accept it if we had the bad English dubs. Like Terry Bogard, like, are you okay? Bust a wolf.
All right. It's just a fucking, they all have one stupid one-liners. Okay. Yeah. Here you go. He throws his fucking hat. Yeah. Just some random dude gets a hat on his head. He's like, come on, man. Fucking Terry. God damn it.
Yeah, it's like every damn time, Terry.
Yeah. What is it? The fucking, Geyser. He's always screaming his fucking random shit. It would be so cool. I think it would be fucking awesome if it was like a Wreck-It Ralph. And then, of course, dude, King of Fighters. My dude, I literally have fucking Mr. Karate tattooed on my arm. Like, SNK, fucking King of Fighters. I love that. I love the whole fucking franchise.
Back in the day when I played fighting games competitively, like my game of choice was Capcom versus SNK 2.
Dude, that's literally Ham's been. We were just talking. He just went to Evo a couple of weeks ago. He went to the Vegas Evo, and he went and he had all he had a bunch of game consoles there. Well, not consoles, but the cabinets and all that stuff, and got to meet a bunch of other dudes. He was there like in some of the Evo tournaments to see like Dio, the fucking dude that did like the fucking Chun-Li fucking Kennen fight. That like he gets to see all that shit and hang out with those dudes all the time. And he's hosting fucking game tournaments in the Valley now. Like, that's legit awesome to me, man. But fuck, dude, I do love the idea that we are getting Mario in like this Pixar animated series, and there's talks of like a Smash movie. Like, dude, it's a fucking time to be alive.
Yeah, because we have all the franchises lined up available for. I don't know if it was Vince or who mentioned Donkey Kong. Maybe it was
Ham.
But King K. Rool, Diddy Kong, all that stuff. We could do a Donkey Kong Country film and then level that into a Smash Brothers movie. We can do Samus and her Metroid story and level that into, and all these different characters. We could get there.
Oh, that's a good one. A Halo movie. We're not gonna get a Halo movie. They already fucking that ship already sailed with the Black Pearl, dude. Like, that was so fucking bad, dude. The series was such a fucking mess. Since we're talking about it, the two series that I would really like to see if they ever did it, one of them being, of course, what was it that we just talked about earlier? The Samus movie, Metroid, but done in like a horror slash, like kind of like just a really cool dark movie. Yeah. The other one would be, I would love to see a Kirby. Like, Kirby would want to be like, I would want to see a Kirby, but Kirby done like a Goku character.
I would like to see Kirby, but done horror style from the villain's perspective.
Meta Knight
mass is just eating everybody, and they're running in fear for their lives.
Yeah, and Kirby's the one that's like, he's the one that's eating everyone and shitting them out.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he steals their identity. That's what it could be. It could be a movie based on Kirby, but he steals people's identities, like nowadays hackers and shit.
Yeah, like, how horrifying it would be just to be walking in the room here, hi,
and then boom, he just eats you, and then he has your fucking clothes on, and you're just covered in feces, dude. Like, what are you covered in when you get out of him? Like, how does he, like, I don't know, man. I've never really understood that part of the story. Like, do you come out slimy? Like, are you just like, oh, fuck, what the hell, man?
I assume the stars he shits out are all the sensors. God only knows what you come out.
Yeah, that's right. You get a censored fucking star to come out because you're all covered in shit. You're like, what the fuck? God damn it, Kirby. And it's pink and it smells like bubble gum, dude. Like, yeah, but no, I'm super excited. Just like we were talking about earlier, guys. Super Mario Brothers looks like a great show. Can't wait for it to come out. It's gonna be a great movie. Yeah, we understand it's gonna be crazy with all the politics stuff, but I think Chris Pratt's gonna knock it out of the park. That's all I know. Onwards to the next part of the conversation.
Gabe, did you really say that Kirby shits up Gak? Is that where we're going with this?
It's gack, dude. It's the slime they sell at Walmart and shit. It's the stuff they hit the people at Nickelodeon with during the fucking award ceremonies and shit. It's just all Kirby.
It's just Kirby shit. They just
it's just Kirby crap, dude. Can you imagine? Or dude, what if it was like, dude, it's gonna be like a Futurama, where like his slime is like toothpaste for kids or whatever, dude. That's what we use as toothpaste.
Splurge or slurge?
Yeah, yeah, you remember that shit? It was like some snail that was just shitting out goo and stuff. That was disgustingly funny, man. Okay, just letting people know, back to Marvel. Marvel has done a huge pushback on their films. So I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but Marvel did a huge pushback on all their films, almost years, like a year past each of them. And this is all, of course, like I have a couple of them here. We have Deadpool was set to come out September 6th, 2024. Now it's set November 8th, 2024. The Fantastic Four movie was set for November 8th, 2024. Now it's February 2025. Another Marvel film unreleased by name was set to release February 25th, February 14, 25. Now it's set for November 7th. Secret Wars is set, and the other one with the Kang Dynasty or whatever, they're set to release during May of 2026, dude. Like they pushed everything back a year. And you know where it all spawned from? The Blade movie. So the Blade movie went from November 2023 to September 2024. So like that's almost like a whole ass, like that's a lot of time between each other. Now,
honestly, with the backlash that we were hearing about the Blade movie, the shit writing, the bad fights, they were unhappy with it. I would prefer to wait longer than be fed shit. I really would. We've seen what DC has done by making some bad choices. Yeah, and I'd rather just hold on a little bit longer and get something awesome. Vince, if we actually got that game as a movie, I'll sleep with you, dude. Like straight up, like I'll put out. There's no way in hell we'd ever get a Marvel Nemesis the movie, but that was a great game. That was genius because it was all brand new characters. Yeah, and you got some old steadfast like Venom and characters you didn't really get to play in other games beforehand. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I would rather wait. Going back to the films. With Ryan Reynolds announcing Hugh Jackman with the greatest trailer known to man, because it was wonderful, especially using I will always love you. I mean, because of course Ryan Reynolds would.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, dude, he's been clamoring for Hugh Jackman for like ever, man, and it was so crazy to know that Kevin Feige like just collapsed under the pressure of Ryan Reynolds probably texting him every hour.
Yep.
And then calling him every day, going to his office and
collapse under the pressure behind his car. Weight of all that money, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that for Kevin Feige to be like, fine, bring your friend to the film or whatever, Hugh Jackman. Yeah. I guess
we'll make the buddy cop movie that everybody's asking for.
Dude, I really think that Deadpool is going to revolutionize Marvel films when it comes out. I really do. But someone needs to ask Kevin what's going on. Yeah, dude, the Blade movie is getting really bad. Mashallah Ali, the main actor, has put in interviews and tweets and everything else that he's kind of like upset with the way the writing is and how it's been going with the whole entire franchise.
You see, but there shouldn't be that problem. Blade is a self-writing film. A badass assassin hunts vampires because he's part vampire. All he had to do was like bad guy vampire, let Blade kick a bunch of ass, kill bad guy vampire in the end.
I was going to say a really good thing. You could just start this film up and just have a vampire rave.
Yep.
And just have him walk in.
Yeah, and just have Wesley Snipes just in the background. And like,
dude, he didn't even need to do anything. He could be the DJ. Like, he just be the DJ of the goddamn event and everyone will go crazy. Like, to me, Blade's an easy home run. But the thing that caught my ear the first time I started hearing about it, because the director left, and then for some reason Sam Raimi's name came in, and they were like, "Yo, Sam Raimi's gonna do Blade," and I was like, "Please no." I love Sam Raimi, but please, man, like, or maybe I don't know, man.
But he's not the right guy for Blade. Now, mind you, I think Raimi would knock a Midnight Suns movie out of the park. that would be an awesome movie.
That'd be a great
but
movie.
he's not the right guy. Like I would rather have like a John Woo or the director of one of the John Wicks.
Woo.
Yeah, like I would rather those guys do a Blade movie because that's the action you need to see. This should be a 1990s rehash of this ass-kicking film. There's no reason for this thing to be a philosophical journey.
How do you feel that there were talks that this Blade movie was going to deal with like Blade in the 1940s?
It doesn't make sense because we're not setting up anything.
Yeah.
Like if we had been doing the 1940s or the Victorian age of Marvel Comics, I much rather would get the storyline from the comic books of Apocalypse versus Dracula. Like that comic book storyline was wonderful. Setting up, the father of all vampires against the first mutants, as he coined himself, without Namor. But Blade in that time period doesn't make sense for us to be watching. Really doesn't.
Yeah, that's what I said too. Yeah, I was in the same boat, man. When I had heard that they were talking about putting Blade, like making Blade like a 1940s piece, I was like, why?
Why? Yeah.
Like, did you guys not watch the success of the first three? Like, Blade, literally, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, Blade saved the Marvel like comic book franchise.
Definitely, yeah.
Back in the day, it didn't save the universe. It didn't save the movies. It saved the entire fucking comic book company from being bankrupt and made it millions, man. And Wesley Snipes just came in and was like, yo, let me be Wesley Snipes in this movie and I'll bring it. And they were like, all right, Wesley Snipes, you go ahead and do your thing. And I guess they thought it was a fucking joke. And he came in and he fucking suplexes vampires. Like, who the fuck does that? Like, yeah, I've never seen no Interview with the Vampire. They suplexing motherfuckers and like dropping, being like, yo, and then slamming them on the ground. Like, I've never seen that shit. And I was like, greatest fucking martial arts movie and greatest martial arts film. Like,
yeah, and it was really with somebody that understood the attitude of the character. Even if Wesley didn't understand what the character was in the comic universe, he knew what attitude to bring. I think one of the best scenes we see in Blade is when he finishes the vampire rave, he kills damn near everybody, and they find that the overweight vampire, the beast one, in his closet handling all the computers. And Blade questions him. The guy doesn't answer. He hits him with a light. And he tortures him for a little bit. Yeah. And then he asks him again. He doesn't answer. He burns him again until he just burns him to death. And that's just torturing him. Blade has. Like, you don't matter as a vampire, but he needs something from you and he's going to hurt you.
And that's that one guy at the beginning of the film that he lets go and then catches him in Russia later on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My favorite scene in understanding who Blade is and him knowing that he's in a vampire movie, and it's not him breaking the fourth wall. It's just knowing that when he's Blade, he gets to be like this like stoic one-liner wannabe fucking Musashi Miyamoto samurai guy, is when he's in the hospital and he's fighting the one vampire that got away and the cops show up and they shoot him.
Yeah.
And he's attacking the vampire and the vampire slips away. I think it's Triple H. No, not Triple H. It's the first movie. The first movie wasn't Triple H. It was some other guy. And he's like trying to kill this dude. All of a sudden, he turns around and the cop's like, pow, pow. And he's like, "Motherfucker, are you out of your mind?" Like, his street essence comes out.
Yeah, but that's he's kind of like understanding of the attitude that what you need to give Blade.
Fucking good, man. It's fucking good. And if it wasn't for Blade Trinity, we wouldn't have Deadpool.
Yep.
Because that's where the director of that movie had seen Ryan Reynolds and was like, yo, you would be an awesome Wade Wilson. Mm-hmm. And Ryan Reynolds was like, who the fuck is that? And boom, he got picked up for the Wolverine movie, which he was probably the best thing, minus the fact that they sewed his mouth shut, thinking that was a great storyline.
I do have to give it to that Wolverine movie. They did a good job with the Blob.
With what?
With the Blob. The blob.
The blob. Gambit was.
Oh yeah.
Gambit was. It was. You know what? Like, I give it up because at least someone took the chance.
Yeah.
Like, and then they just put the dude from the Black Eyed Peas in it for no reason. Mm-hmm. He was just like teleporting everywhere, and then Sabretooth grabbed his spine or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't get it, but all right. Like, okay, Dollar General fucking Nightcrawler.
He was supposed to be in the Street Fighter movie as a security guard. Is what it was.
Yeah. That's what he fucking turned the wrong fucking studio or whatever. Like, yeah, that was fucking wild, man. But yeah, as a matter of fact, we were just talking about this, but Marvel has pushed back all the dates of their films. So positive, we'll be getting Marvel films for sure till 2025. Negative, we got to wait a little bit longer. It's just what it is. But,
No, but they
guys,
are
just letting you know
announcing
that we got to
secret
push
TV
back.
projects and stuff. So I think today they just dropped the announcement that they'll be doing a Nova instead of doing a Nova movie,
Marvel
it's
series.
going to be a Marvel series. So
Yeah, I heard
I'm
about that
down
too.
for my Marvel series. I mean, I watch every single one of them they send my way. Buy the merch too. It's good.
This brings up a really good point. So, being that Nova, Sam Alexander or Richard Rider, whichever one they decide to go with, the character is a pretty well known, fan favorite, household name in the Marvel cinematic, no, not cinematic, but comic universe.
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of people don't know who he is probably right now, maybe by movie or by game or by something, but a lot of people don't know of his story. But of course, when it starts coming out, a lot of the woodwork people are going to be like the closet Nova fans. That's what I call like the Moon Knights, the guys who love Moon Knight, the guys that were like, oh man, dude, Man Thing came out. And I was like, shut up, dude. Shut up.
It's like the Narnia meme. Like,
yeah.
The old magic was there when it was written.
Yeah, I was there when it was written, my dude. There is a challenge now with the success of Werewolf by Night, because I don't know if you got to see it. You had to have seen this. Yeah. It was fucking fantastic. You know, it was such a great way for them to introduce a niche character.
To win every award it's going to win, because it was such a beautiful period piece without being a period piece. It really, for me, harkened back to the days of Universal Monsters, of being scared of the creature from the Black Lagoon, the original Wolfman, the Mummy, Dracula in his early starts. I mean, Christopher Lee as Dracula on screen with all that presence.
The Nosferatu series.
Yeah, Nosferatu, all those classic films. It felt
Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes,
the series, the show did amazing. I had no complaints about it. The actress they chose to play Elsa Bloodstone was wonderful.
I was the only thing that I was a little disappointed with is her costume design. I wanted it to be a little bit more like with the ponytail, the red hair. Like, I mean, of course, it's not really in color until the very end. Like, but like the trench coat, she had the trench coat, which was cool. Like, but just a little bit more like edgy, little Blade-ish. Because Elsa Bloodstone is this really cool, edgy character. She has like a long, badass, like, what was that? The Red Sonja style, like ponytail, like with a big ass poof. Like, yeah, she was cool. She's a cool ass character, but the actress did a great job. My biggest thing is, this is what I want to ask you, and of course the people in the comment section, with the way Werewolf by Night went, and with the way that the Disney series has been, the Marvel series has been bringing out a lot of these Marvel plus shows or series themselves, Miss Marvel, Wanda, She-Hulk that just had its finale this past week, Moon Knight. Do you feel that the format that they used for Werewolf by Night as the special presentation one-offs was a lot better than the way the series have been going? And do you think it challenges the format that people wanted? Because in my opinion, with the way Werewolf by Night went, if they would have done Moon Knight, I think it would have been fantastic. I think Moon Knight would have been fucking amazing.
I'm on the bench with it. Depending on the depiction of, like, let's take Nova, for example. If they choose Sam Alexander, I think a series makes sense. If they choose Richard Rider, then that can happen right after Xandar's destroyed by Ronan and everything, and the helmet goes to find a new Nova Prime, and that can be a special presentation, because a young man getting that power and having to learn via like a champion storyline or whatever, I think would fit better in the overall MCU. But a grown-ass adult like Richard Rider getting the helm and going straight into the shit, I'd be okay with a special presentation.
There's a part of me that wouldn't mind having a Richard Rider one-off special presentation if it was the destruction of Xandar, and then the Nova Prime like kind of approaches the last living survivor, and finding Richard Rider in the rubble, and then offers him the helmet with all the knowledge and all the stuff that it kind of protrudes, and then the portal opens up, and it'd be like an alternate timeline where he showed up, and that's where they introduced Richard Rider Nova, and they're fighting King Thanos. because right now at DC, at Disney, the actual like studio, or not the studio, but the park, the Disney park in LA, they actually have, and they're trying to do a King Thanos, which has not been introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's literally just from the comics. He's like the end all Thanos character, but to have it be where like we know that they're eventually going to introduce Thanos as this king that conquered everything. To have a Richard Rider, if you're not going to introduce him into the MCU and him being like a beloved character, have it be where like an alternate timeline is he actually went to the fight with Thanos at the end with all the Avengers and was there for the Avengers Assemble with all the other, that would be cool. Because if we go back to that story and we go back to the film, they were actually planning to put Nova in that scene.
Yeah.
Like they put Howard the Duck for no fucking reason, and everyone was like, "Yo, Howard the Duck," but they didn't have to show
Howard
him shooting the gun.
His credit. We had that 1980s movie, and Howard the Duck deserves all.
He was amazing. He dated a real woman once.
Yeah,
he dated a real woman. But like in the aspect of it, like they showed Howard the Duck, but they never showed him like really fire a gun or run out with the Avengers, and it wasn't enough to be like that. Captain America's like reaches and looks and goes, is that a fucking duck? Like, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. They didn't care. They just were like, bro, if you're part of like Carmitage or whatever, like, bet. We don't know what those guys have. They're all fucking weirdos anyways. Like,
we had Quack Fu, sir.
They had a fucking Minotaur 20 minutes ago. A fucking talking duck in a coat. Like, ain't gonna bother me, dude.
Yeah. It's par for the course.
So to have it be where like the Ravengers are showing up and the Nova Corps, and then you have a fucking Nova like fly up and chest out, and he have like the spikes on his chest, you would have been like, motherfucker, that's Richard Rider. And we didn't need any more. Like we didn't need any more than that. He came in, she's blasting some shit, and then like when at the very end when they're like, yeah, we won, he just kind of like tip of the hat and flies into space or whatever, like the Green Lanterns. Like you wouldn't say shit. Like you wouldn't give a fuck. You just be like, well, that was crazy. That was weird.
I think for me, instead of the King Thanos storyline, I would prefer one or two storylines.
Oh, Annihilus.
Either Richard Rider getting Nova Prime and going up against the Annihilation Wave and stopping Annihilus, or Richard Rider with Nova Prime stopping the Phalanx, because there's Nova and Guardians of the Galaxy assimilation that happens after the Annihilation Wave, and that's when Ultron assimilates the Phalanx from the X-Men universe. So Ultron,
he makes his own like Phalanx, his own world or his own like species or whatever. That's before the Age of Ultron in the comics, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because then he comes back to Earth and he's supposed to like take over, but like Wolverine went back in time, or I don't know, Wolverine like made some toast, or I don't know. Yeah, it's some stupid shit that Marvel always does. The one that I wouldn't mind either is if they did the negative zone where they trap what is it, Star-Lord, Thanos, and I don't think that was the Annihilus Wave.
Yeah, they all get stuck in the negative zone.
But I think that was the one that was like where Drax kills Thanos or something. Or was that the Annihilus Wave?
That's the Annihilus Wave. Yeah,
I want to say I remember it being like where it was them two, and they were like, we're never gonna stop this dude. Like he's in charge of it. Oh yeah, because Thanos takes over the Annihilus Wave. Yeah, right. He ends up conquering it or killing or stealing the.
Drax literally puts his fist from the.
Yeah, dude, he puts his fucking hand through his chest.
Yeah, it's literally the Annihilation.
I remember that shit, and I remember like they were like, and Star-Lord has like a fucking an eye like that fucking Deathlock guy. Yeah. Like he's all fucking war torn. Everybody's all fucked up, right? Yeah. And they're just like, the only way we're gonna stop this dude is if we trap each other in the negative zone, and then they just beat the shit out of each other for eternity. Mm-hmm. Like that was a great story. But yeah, I think it's cool. But like my question to you and the guys in the comments and everyone in the comment section is, do you think the format of the one-off is a better format than having a series? Like, do you think there's certain characters that should have been a one-off rather than a whole like fucking 12 episodes nonsense?
Yeah, and that's my stand. That for some characters, a one-off makes sense. For others, no. Moon Knight could have been a one-off. I love the series, but it could have been a one-off. But for like Miss Marvel, for Sam Alexander, for the younger cats that are coming into their part, She-Hulk, I do believe benefits from a series. Okay.
It's a good call, man. Good call. What about you guys in the comment section? Let us know in the comments what you guys think. Do you think the one-off series is a better concept or a better blueprint than the way Marvel has been doing their series?
He's talking about old-ass comic storylines that are good storylines. The Cancerverse, damn.
Yeah, the Cancerverse. I think that's the one that it was with the three.
Yeah,
because the Cancerverse is the one you can't die in.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one you can't die in. Yeah, that's nuts, man. But shit. Give me a rating on Werewolf by Night. What'd you think about that shit?
That was 10 out of 10.
That was fucking awesome.
They did so great with Man Thing. Fucking everything was just good, and it left me wanting more. But I was happy with what I got, and I think that's the distinction here because I wanted more because I was so into it. But I was like,
so much,
that was so great. Like, I'm cool with it here.
Yeah, it was so good. It was cool to me because Man Thing, the character was actually a giant suit. It wasn't a fucking CG character. There were some parts that were a little bit animated, but like it was very minimal because it was a fucking dude in a suit. And I knew it was a dude when I saw his hand.
What I've always said about films like The Killer Clowns from Outer Space, these classic horror films, you're afraid of these things in that film or those films because they're there. They are puppets. They are men and women in suits, and the actors are reacting to this horrible fucking thing. It goes back. Do you remember the movie Monster Squad?
Oh, dude, yeah, dude. Yeah. The fucking werewolf man has nards. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, Wolfman has nards. Yeah. So the guy that plays Dracula didn't want to scare the kids, especially the little girl in the film. Yeah. So he wouldn't wear his contacts or the things when he was acting with them. But in the last scene, he had to pick her up and scare her. So he says, I want you to have your eyes closed until they say action. And so she had her eyes closed. He put in the contacts, put in the fangs, and makes the horrific face. And when the little girl opens her eyes, the scream and fear you get from the girl is real. And that's the difference. It's a real, honest scare. And it makes a difference.
Yeah. I think for what it's worth, having that opportunity to have characters. And it was so funny, man, because like when Man Thing first reaches and grabs Jack, right?
Yeah.
You could see that like spirit Halloween hand that's got like no fucking moving joints. Like you just see it like lump over, and then he's like, oh, and I was like, that hand is awesome. Yeah. It looks so bad. It looks so good. How did you feel like with it being all noired out and then them having like little pops of like the old movies and all the film effects? Like, did you kind of like get that really cool vibe when they're doing it? I really don't. There was one part where there was like a weird, like random, like donuts, like
the weird like flares.
Yeah, like, and in my mind, I was like,
flares that were happening.
It didn't work for me. I was kind of like, it like took my attention away from like the shot, and I would look over and be like, oh, what? Was that a donut?
The ADHD, like,
yeah, dude. And in my mind, I'm like, that's just not gonna. This is digital, bro. Like, what are you doing to me, man? There's no film. Like, it's not a fucking film, you asshole. Like, it's a digital fucking thing. It's a hard drive. That's just not gonna happen. Yeah, no, I did like the fucking chance on it.
The attempt at nostalgia that they did with it, I dug it.
That was really, really cool.
Into it immediately.
Gabe says, Sal says, I agree. It depends on the character. Vince says 9 for the Werewolf by Night series. George says one-offs, 10 out of 10. So far. Watch them do a fucking one-off of She-Hulk, and they fucking do this crazy shit, and I'll be like,
I don't know. I think Kevin killed that idea and sent
out. Gabe says when it went to color and they played Somewhere Over the Rainbow, I kind of as a nod, I loved it. That Wizard of Oz is literally my favorite movie. I've never done I'm not going to say this. I had never done any type of debauchery drugs in my whole life. And one time at a fight, at one of our guys' like MMA fights, my students were like, hey, coach, do you want to try like THC in a vape? And I was like, I'm straight edge, dude. What are you talking about, bro? I can't do this. And they were like, look, dude, like we know, like, oh no. I was like, I'm innocent.
I'm a virgin, guys. I can't.
I'm a virgin. Don't touch me. The guys were like, no, coach, like if you want to try it, we're gonna drink and we're gonna be chilling out. If you want to give it a chance, the vaping thing is a lot cleaner. Like it was very cool.
Right.
And the guys were like, we'll take care of you. Nothing's going to happen. Like, we're going to be here the whole time. You don't got to worry about like fucking, what's that, the Hangover movie or anything like that, right? Like, they're not going to take me on an adventure, see Mike Tyson and a tiger and shit. And I remember the guys let me use the pin and they explained to me like what I'm going to feel. And I went into it like a science guy, expecting some type of like some shit, right? And I just remember everyone like all the time when I was young, and everyone was like, "Oh, Dark Side of the Moon, oh, dude, fucking all these different things." And I was like, "Yeah, everyone always has this like, oh, dude, you need to watch The Matrix backwards, upside down while you're stoned." And everybody has like their fucking one thing. And in my mind, I was like, "I'm gonna watch The Wizard of Oz." Like I'm gonna watch it like if I feel like a little bit of like that vibe of lightheadedness or whatever. I'm gonna jump right into this shit because people are always like, oh, you know what I mean? And it did not do anything for me in that sense. I had like I didn't have anything wrong with it, but I just kept having like a memory lapse where I forgot what I was doing. So like I'd watch The Wizard of Oz and I'd be checking it out. I'd just play it. And I looked over to what my fighters were doing on their screen because they're watching a movie. They were watching Slumdog Millionaire. Right. And I looked over and I was like, oh, cool, dude. They're watching Slumdog Millionaire. That's a pretty good movie. And I turned around and it was already at the part where the fucking dog, where Toto takes the hot dog from the fucking the wizard guy when he's in his carriage at the beginning of the movie. And I was like, what? That's like 15 minutes. I just turned around. And then I fucking turned again. And the movie was like deeper in, like in Slumdog Millionaire. And I was like, what the fuck? And I turned around and it's the scene where the fucking lion is jumping out of the Oz. And I was like, fucking time is fucking Chris, with me like right now. Like 20-minute burst, dude. It was such an experience, man. But it was funny as fuck. But it was nothing like the way people explained it to me.
I will neither confirm nor deny.
I can, yeah.
I will Bill Clinton this saying that I tried it but didn't inhale. Certain recreational drugs and watched the first Tron movie, and that was a trippy experience. Yeah, that was some lights that I was not prepared for.
Did it flip you out a little bit or no?
Yeah, it flipped me the hell out. I was like, oh shit, it's blue. Dude. Holy shit.
Yeah, for me, it's just I just had memory lapse. I just kept forgetting what I was doing. Like every like 12 minutes, and I'd be like, was I? No. And then I'd forget what I was talking about. And I was like, for a minute, it kind of got me like, I was like, this sucks. I hate this in my life. But yeah, it was pretty funny that I thought it was such a great nod for right when the color comes in for them to do the over the rainbow. I thought it was so. I was like, man, dude, like it just made me like feel like, man, I need to go back and watch Wizard of Oz. I need to go back and watch it.
Yeah, I remember. I think TikTok showed and it was really emotional. A guy's colorblind, and his family buys him the color correcting glasses.
Oh yeah.
So he's watching Wizard of Oz for the first time with color. And it gets to the point where it's a horse of a different color. The horse keeps changing color. He's like, what color is that? Like, well, that's purple. It's like, oh my God, that's purple. I can see purple. And he's so amazed by it. And
I love those kind of videos.
I got when the song came on is like, okay, like it means something that there's color now. And it did a great job. I was very happy with Werewolf by Night.
I think for what it's worth, Werewolf by Night is probably like the leading thing in Phase 5 right now.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's probably the top thing that they produce. And it shows that they are capable of doing great things, even though they keep doing what they're doing. But we're going to kind of stick on the Marvel game. And of course, we're going to be talking about what was asked in the comment section. We're going to go into the next piece. We're going to go into the next piece of news for Marvel, which is
real quick. Chris, I got to acknowledge this before we move on, because Vince Weaver's taking a shot at my cap and my specific fandom.
Oh, yeah.
So if they rebooted the Killer Clowns, the movie. So for Anime Fiesta, I wasn't in town because I went to go work HorrorCon Los Angeles.
Nice.
And I was working the show and all that jazz. I was out there with Pyramid EFX and doing their thing. Mm-hmm. And I had a sit down with the Kyoto brothers, the creators of Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Nice.
And I had my fangirl moment. I got a bunch of shit signed because I totally had to. And I will announce that they're one of our first guests that we're going to be bringing in our February show. We'll be bringing the brothers here as storytellers, special effects artists. They'll be doing some shadow puppetry. So all the stuff you see in the movie with the clowns do. One of the brothers actually does those shadow puppets.
Badass.
They'll be doing that. They're bringing some of their props. And if all things go well, we'll bring in the original composer from Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, nice.
And he'll be doing a live orchestral concert at the show for the soundtrack from the original movie and the new video game. So I got to talk to them about rebooting the film and all that. And they're trying to get a sequel going. And they're hoping that the video game gives them that push. So guys, if you want that kind of success so we can see a new movie, you buy the hell out of this video game, you support. Yeah, just so we.
And then not only that, to add to that, I guarantee you probably heard, but there's been some really good success with Universal Studios on their Halloween month already.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They have an event for Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Horror Night has the Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Yeah, and
they have a huge haunted house. It's super cool. So I mean, Killer Clowns is a great horror film. It's got just enough fun in it that makes it kind of like a Gremlins Goonies kind of vibe from back in the day.
Yep.
And it gives you just enough to where you're kind of freaked out a little bit, that It vibe because of the clowns and all that stuff. So, dude,
I think one of the coolest scenes in that movie is the sheriff is sitting on the clown's lap, and he has the blood coming down like the ventriloquist dummy, and
he's using him like a puppet, is it?
And then he pulls his hand out and it's just covered in blood, and like, man, that's some creepy ass stuff. And
that's fucking. I'm telling you, man.
And the brothers, they talk nonstop about the practical side of it, how they made certain things. They show you the props at their booth. You know, man, it was great. I nerd out so hard there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. George says, I think Killer Clowns from Outer Space would make a bunch of money. He says, because look at the way Friday the 13th the game did as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But not only that, we've had some really good releases recently for some good horror films. We had the Terrifier 2 that just recently came out. I got a good friend of mine, Lauren, who's in the film. She's a martial artist. I've known her for years, and she plays the heroine in the film that comes and fights the terrorizer. I don't know if you know who this character is of
Art the Clown.
Yeah,
we were considering bringing him in February as well. We're good friends with Bob Catalano, who's his touring manager.
Rad.
Yeah, but Art's getting booked. With the success of the movie,
broke $1 million right now. It's out of nowhere, man. Because the Terrifier, the first movie that came out, it didn't really get a lot of it didn't get some as much response as it's getting right now.
It got a good cult following, and I remember that's why I watched it. Somebody recommended saying it has the most gory kill that you've seen in a long time. The chainsaw from top to bottom with that poor girl, and I was like, oh shit. So I watched it and I was like, okay, Art the Clown's horrifying. And then this sequel, released in theaters, has made a lot of money for what it is, and they're getting recognized for people passing out during the movie. Like people are.
Yeah, I heard about that today. I was like, come on, man. But okay, I'll give it to them this one time. If people are out there passing out, all right, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
But to me, it's one of those things. Like, there's a part of me that thinks that just like games that are specifically made for arcades, that the horror world is very what is it like it's where you dehydrate it and you take away its content. It doesn't have enough right now that really makes it because you have suspense films but not a lot of horror films. And what you get is you get a lot of these movies that are of course Friday the 13th or the Halloween movies or whatever, a bunch of comebacks to all these films, and there's nothing original anymore. But with the Terrifier 2, I think it had just enough origination that a lot of people really dug it.
And I don't want to say I won't say that there's nothing original out there. I do think there is. There's enough new talent coming in that just needs the shot. They aren't getting the opportunities. Mm-hmm. But I will say we've oversaturated the market with the same old. And that brings me to, I know we have sidetracked hard from the Marvel talk, but the new oh my gosh, Pinhead, the new
Hellraiser.
Yeah, it's a departure, but in the same vein of the originals. It gives us something new, but we still get, Pinhead giving us the line of, such wonderful delights to show you. And, it's a different take, but it's in the same vein. And I think it's a good direction to go.
Good stuff. I haven't been able to see the new one. I've heard some good and I've heard some bad stuff, but
I will say, in my opinion, the first 20 minutes are a different movie. They're appealing to general audiences. Okay. It's more like a haunting kind of film. It's almost ghost behavior and things. They're spooking you, and it's almost like a detective. They're trying to figure things out. But then when the Cenobites show up, and you see Pinhead, and then you're seeing these horrors and these delights and pleasures they talk about. It's some gory shit. It's the old Hellraisers, and I do think it stands on par, at least in my opinion, with the first two Hellraisers. Nice, because 3 and all the other ones, whatever. But the first two are where it's at, and shit, to this day I can't watch Doug Bradley as the original Pinhead in the first movie and not want to piss myself, because that guy was fucking horrifying.
Yeah, scary. His voice was just
the second half demanding. Of the movie does a great job.
Yeah, his voice was super demanding. I do remember that. It was crazy as hell. Yeah. Well, I think you said it. We've sidetracked enough. We'll go right back to the Marvel Universe, and we'll be quick about this. But did you hear about recent news where they actually just booked Harrison Ford to be confirmed for Marvel Thunderbolts?
Yeah, as General Thunderbolt Ross, I think there could be no better choice. Yeah. William Hurt is a difficult artist to take over from, especially after his passing. The guy was iconic, and he was great as Ross. But Harrison Ford, he has his fucking power and potential, and I really do see him doing a good job, because the way he did it with Ender's Game.
Oh, I love Ender's fucking Game. I
Yeah,
love that movie so
the way
much.
he played the general in that film, I think, is a perfect analog for what he could do with Thunderbolt Ross.
I mean, he's just an amazing actor, and I think, of course, like there was a part of Harrison Ford himself that he's tired of Indy, he's tired of fucking Han Solo, he's tired of those worlds and wants to do something different. And I think every time he gets these opportunities to kind of like embark into other worlds, he's cool about it. Um, there is a part of me that thinks he's not gonna like he's gonna jump into this and he's not really gonna understand what's going on. But
No, I
like,
think a part of me believes that he doesn't give a shit.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like his attitude
that's
is
the
what.
magic. I think we see it like with Indiana Jones. We see it when he gives any interview with Star Wars. I think my favorite one that I saw was
The Millennium Falcon one, the Lego.
Yeah, the last Star Wars movie that came up that he was in. They're asking all the actors who shot first, Han or Greedo, who shot first, and they go through Oscar Isaac, Daisy Ridley. They ask everyone. And they're all like, Han shot first. Han shot. What kind of question was that? Han shot first. And they get to Harrison. He's like, so who shot first? Han or Greedo? He's like, I don't give a shit.
I don't give a shit. Yeah, dude. That's the fucking my favorite one is of course the when he's at the night show and he's fucking sees Chewie and he's like, fuck you, Chewie. And he's like, fuck you, man. I hate you.
Yeah, like, you know what you did, you son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch. And the other one that I love is it's I don't know if it's during Star Wars Celebration, but this guy comes up and he's like, "Oh, I've spent like 120 hours building the Millennium Falcon Lego set. Like, I would love for you to sign it or whatever." And they pass it to him, and he's just like, "Oh!" And he fucking like he fucks it up so fast. But it's like there's a part of me that's like, I don't know if that's fake or if that's real. But you're not gonna fucking tell Harrison Ford he fucked up either way.
Yeah.
Like if it was real, God, I hate him, but I love him so much. If it was,
I would pick up a piece.
fake,
It's like, just sign this piece. I'll fix it.
yeah, he's like, just sign it. It's a huge ass Millennium Falcon. And he just fucking and then drops it and fucking throws it over his head. Like
isn't that thing
it's
like
such a
$1,000 to
fucking
buy?
funny
Like
video,
that's
man.
a huge ass Lego set.
Yeah, it's so fucking funny. But to see him coming into the Marvel universe, it kind of takes me because I know that he hasn't been like a huge fan of like all this sci-fi shit. So to see him coming into the Marvel universe, I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm a little worried, but I'm not worried about his ability to act.
Like I do think him coming into the Marvel universe as Thunderbolt Ross is the better fit because he can do his straight acting as the general leading the Thunderbolts knowledge,
Dude.
And then CG takes over for him as Red Hulk, if we even get Red Hulk.
Oh, I guarantee we're gonna get a Red Hulk, and the reason why is because in She-Hulk they fucking already like acknowledged him, which
is it another Hulk? Is he red?
Because it's not even a part of the story yet, so I don't even know how this bitch knows that fucking Red Hulk exists. But
it's a fourth wall break, man, and I was there for it the entire time.
We're gonna get into that shit a little bit later. Vince Weaver says this was before a Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. I think there is one. If not, he's been a character in Dead by Daylight, like most of the horror iconic characters. So we kind of get that.
They just released the Cenobites for Dead by Daylight also. So yeah.
And George says, I don't know, man. Harrison Ford in Bruno. He was kind of rude. Yeah, Harrison Ford is rude, like just in general. But
well, I mean, my favorite rude line from him is when they asked Chris Pratt if he was going to be the new Indiana Jones. He's like, no, I talked to Harrison. And he says, I'm fucking Indiana Jones. He's like,
yeah,
he's fucking Indiana Jones.
I'm fucking Indiana. There's no new Indiana Jones. Yeah. He's going to be another name. Like he's pretty serious, man. He's about his shit, man. But it's just so hard to understand if he's just being funny.
Yeah, I he's just like this. He's a dickhead with a heart of gold.
Yeah.
Like he's just mean to be mean, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's so hard to fucking. Oh, Vince, maybe we get Hayden Christensen in the MCU.
I will speak blasphemy and say Hayden Christensen for Richard Rider.
Richard Rider? Wow, for Nova?
To be Nova. Hayden Christensen to be, because he's baby-faced enough to be a good-looking Nova, but at the same time old enough to give us that older adult Nova that Richard would be.
And you know what's crazy? Like, there was a time where I actually thought he would be a good Doom.
Hayden Christensen?
Yeah, because like it's just him reprising the role of Vader.
Yeah.
It's just him reprising the role of Darth Vader in a different way. And he's a handsome dude, and all you got to do is fuck up his face, like with a little bit of makeup. It's literally Darth Vader, dude.
And just have Ewan McGregor put him over a barbecue pit or something. And
he would. I think he would kill as Doctor Doom. But you know what? There is a part of me that wants to see, like the guy from Old Country from Old Men.
Oh, not Javier Bardem.
That Spaniard guy, the Spanish dude.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but yes, I know.
But that guy played Doctor Doom. Like, I want Doctor Doom to have like an accent.
Yeah, I agree with you. To have that thick accent.
Like, and I'm not talking about fucking Scarlett Johansson or Wanda's accent where it changes every 5 days or whatever. I'm talking like
the multiverse, man. You know, we're lucky we didn't get like a street slang Black Wanda at some point.
Vince, you're killing me, man. He's like Hayden Christensen as Hyperion. Dude, that would kill me so bad. But 10 out of 10. If he was Doom, like, I'm being serious though. Like, I think he would literally be a pretty good choice for Doctor Doom.
Is it Javier Bardem? Did I get it right, Gabe?
Yeah, Javier Bardem. Yeah.
Yeah, it's right.
I think he would be an excellent fucking choice for Doctor Doom. You know, the reason why is like he just needs to be like suave, dude. There has to be something about him because like Sue Storm was almost on that. You know what I mean? She almost climbed that tree one time. If it wasn't for Reed being like so,
of times. It wasn't just one time.
You know what I mean?
Like, to the level of hoe Sue Storm.
Yeah. Yeah, she was almost there, man. Like, college was wild for her, man.
Yeah,
like, college was a wild time for her, dude. All these scientists that are like super engineers for the world, like they were getting dirty, dude. They're getting dirty dogs somewhere around there.
You know, but like, it's a tangent, and I'm gonna get hate for it in the comment section probably. But I had this argument with a buddy of mine who's he's one of those comics are turning into feminism, woke things, and blah 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 blah. And I was like, have you read any fucking comics? Like, every superhero
20-30 years
was out there like banging whoever the hell she wanted. Spider-Woman gets pregnant. Jessica Jones sleeps with Luke Cage, cheats on his ass, and then marries him and has a daughter. I mean, Sue Storm sleeps with Namor, Doctor Doom. Fucking, I'm amazed she didn't bone an eyeless at some point.
Look, it's one of those things. Like, I'll be one of those people that'll stand right next to you in this argument, and I'll be like, "Yo, women have not been respected in comic books from the beginning of dawn of time." There is literally a comic book where Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, gets banged by her child from the future who comes back, who just impregnated her with himself. Like, it, and the Avengers knew, and they were just like, "Oh, cool, bet. Like, you're dating each other, badass." Like Euros, the guy they just introduced in the MCU, like he was using his powers to bang chicks.
Yeah,
he was doing it so bad that the Living Tribunal was like, "Yo, I'm gonna put your ass on trial, dude. Like, you can't be banging chicks with powers, bro. You can't be." Then She-Hulk was the fucking juror of the goddamn trial. Like, dude, like chicks don't get no respect, man.
Yeah, we literally had storylines where Jean Grey was cloned, and the clone replaces her and marries Cyclops, gets pregnant. They have a son that's Cable, and they find out that the clone is named Madeline Pryor, and she's shoved off into villain status. And then Cable comes back to the past to meet his mother, who he thinks is Jean Grey, and she's not. So that, I mean, it's nothing new.
Messy, dude. It's so messy, man. The one that always freaked me out was of course we had Ant-Man who beat his wife.
Yeah,
like that was like the biggest
Avengers disassembled happens because they erased Wanda's mind of the babies she had.
Yeah,
and man, no, women have been abused in comics forever. I don't know why. Or have a problem with She-Hulk twerking. I mean, Robert's chat every 5 minutes talking about how beautiful that is. You know, he's waiting for a thunderclap.
Rob's gonna be like, "That's my girl, man. Back off." You know, we're gonna talk about She-Hulk. I do have my issues. I think we all have issues with She-Hulk, but
yes,
we're gonna get to that in a bit.
Even worse, like Havoc picks up fucking Cyclops' sloppy seconds and ends up with Madeline Pryor. Like, oh man, comic books.
Dude, what about the awkward one that just recently happened where it was Amadeus Cho Hulk making out with Vision's daughter in the Champions comic, but he's like all hulked out kissing her, and you're just like, this is fucking creepy, dude.
Yeah, he's kissing a synthezoid. He's kissing a robot, which I guess Japan does it, so why the fuck can't we? I guess
they get married to that shit.
Yeah.
They marry that shit out there.
Androids and stuff, like, I guess.
I mean, we can pretty much say that that Harrison Ford's introduction into the Thunderbolts will pretty much give us a solid introduction for us getting a Red Hulk. And then not only that, to mention that we just got we just got a mention of Red Hulk in the She-Hulk show, episode 8. So I think Red Hulk's coming, and we'll probably get into it. Of course, we're going to get into it a little bit later because there is an introduction to a new character, which kind of goes back to the idea of them making like a World War Hulk movie, which now literally kills it for me. What I believe is a great World War Hulk story. Now what
and I was
Kevin is going to be bringing us with the MCU now. Before we get into the She-Hulk season finale talk, though, I want to ask, and I want to see if anybody else in the comment section has seen this or heard about it. We do have confirmation and early reviews and reaction of Black Adam. And of course, for what we can kind of tell, it's 50-50. And what I mean by that is, of course, a lot of people are saying the story itself is kind of weak, but everybody's saying that the action is tremendously cool.
And honestly, I expect that at least. That there isn't going to be anything new.
Yeah, I was like, in my mind, I'm like, what else do we deserve? It's The Rock, guys. It's not fucking William Neeson. I mean, God damn it, dude. Like,
as long as he's not coming out and asking if we smell what Black Adam's cooking. I mean, I'm okay with it at this point.
That would be so great. Or rock bottom some dude. He's gonna rock bottom fucking Adam and shit.
I know Hawkman's gonna get it. The people's elbow and shit. That's whatever at this point, but.
I don't know where people would be upset if the story was kind of bland and The Rock was just The Rock. What were you expecting? This guy wins just Nickelodeon awards for Best Actor. Like, he's not winning Oscars, man.
Yeah, and honestly, the storyline, the script should be carried by fucking Pierce Brosnan. You have James goddamn Bond in your movie. That's where you should be getting quality, dialogue and exhibition. That's where it should become. The exhibition should be coming from him. Not
as a matter of fact, that's pretty much what
Black Adam Johnson.
Yeah, that's what the reviews are saying. They're saying that was it Pierce Bronson? Charles Bronson? They're saying that he's Charles Bronson, Delta Force and shit. They're saying he's pretty much like the carry of the acting community in this film, that his parts are just right down the middle. And they're saying that the action, of course, is like to die for. And I mean, what more were we expecting? If there's anything that I've felt, and I don't know if you feel the same way, that the superhero film community has been lacking, and especially a DC film, is just a straight ass whooping superhero movie from beginning to end. A very bland story, nothing too crazy. Just give us flight, fight, and fire, and we're good. That's the way I've always seen it. Yeah. Like those, as long as it has those, I don't need to see Lois and Clark on a boat, like looking at the ocean. I don't need that. I just need to see a bad guy be bad and good guys be good. I think
at some point we're going to need it, but not with the heavy hitters. Not with characters that we have established. Like, if they took Atom Smasher and explained to me, his fears of his power running out because it only operates for so long. If they took the Green Lantern and showing his willpower fading and him getting nervous and stuff and having doubts. I mean, those are character developing pieces that we need. But Superman's Superman. Black Adam is Black Adam. We don't need those pieces. They're grown ass men that know what they can do and they know they're the strongest people in it. Shazam makes sense. He's a kid. Billy Batson is a boy that's learning to be a Olympian god, basically. Mm-hmm.
Like it's one of those things. Like I think it's just one of those things. Like, for a Black Adam film, especially him not being like one of the majors. And what I mean by that is like he always plays just a random character. I'm not expecting something super crazy. And then him and his backstory, like it's not super diverse. I mean, we never really get to see him politically be a king of like Klandar or whatever the fucking area. I forgot the name of the place that he takes care of. Yeah. I never see him get to be like the emperor of that. He just goes around and does fuckery like a superhero. Mm-hmm. And then someone always shows up
in, I think it's Crisis Infinite Worlds or one of those Crisis ones. Superboy Prime is beating the hell out of everybody. And he's using a villain called Psycho Pirate, I think, to drive everybody mad.
Oh, yeah.
And Black Adam just shows up, grabs Psycho Pirate, and puts his fingers
Yeah, that's what Black Adam means. That's all he needs. And then he's like, bet, finish that story.
Yeah.
Like credits. Credits. I'm gonna go home, guys. Peter Piper's got a sale on large pizzas today. Like he doesn't give a shit. Like he just gets things sold.
Black Adam as a character is the equivalent of a mariachi song ending. You just get the dun dun and that's it.
And that's a good way to put it.
Dun dun, it's over. All right, badass.
You know what? I've always told people that Black Adam's character is pretty much, I guess, like Hyperion in the Marvel universe, but it's literally the closest thing in the DCU or the DC comic books that we get to a real life version of Injustice Superman, where it's a guy who has all these powers and he literally says, oh, you do bad, I kill you. You come to my country, you do bad, I kill you. You don't mess with my country, you don't come over.
Any single comic book where he cameos in, he's just MacGuffin the anti-villain. He shows up, he does whatever is needed, Deus Machina kind of situation that needs to happen that second, and he's over. He shows up for 5 minutes and he's gone. So
that's why in my mind when all these early reactions are coming out and they're like, oh well, the acting sucks and the story sucks, I'm like, what arc did you want to follow? Like, tell me a Black Adam story that's based on him, not Shazam, not the Justice League Society.
His character development comes from. It's the JSA stuff. It's
the stuff. We always get a panel or two. We only get maybe a splash page or two of Black Adam getting some type of development. All we know is him and his chick died. They killed like his son or nephew or his cousin or I don't know, some kid.
Yeah, and even then, I think he sacrifices his son to get the power. I can't remember Black Adam's story 100%.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, like, and that's because we read this shit. Person. You know what I mean? That's because we know this fucking comic books. So it's a very niche audience. So, movie critics are out there saying the story isn't great, but the action's good. And in my mind,
I mean, the critics are not who this movie's made for. I do still wholeheartedly believe that DC fans deserve the same feeling that Marvel fans got when all the Avengers were standing in Avengers 1 and the panel went around every single one of them when we got that moment like that's our team, that they are here and they haven't gotten it yet. So let's see how this goes.
I like Sal's like, you get a parking ticket, you die. Yes, Black Adam, dude. Okay, I have to ask. Okay, so Vince Weaver puts in the comment section, man, sadly we didn't get the ears and the hair in the Black Adam movie.
There was no way to ask though. Look, I'm going to be 100% honest. Like Super Spock or something.
Yeah, in my mind I'm going to be like, okay, I have to ask this question. Why the ears though? Like, I have to ask, why is his ears pointy? I know why Namor's ears are pointy. He's a mutant. That's a good explanation for me already. I don't need anything because he's got fucking feathers on his feet. So he's got pointy ears. I don't give a fuck. That makes sense. That makes sense to me.
He shouldn't carry his weight because they're so small.
But why does Black Adam have pointy ears in the comics? Like, I have to know this, and I don't know answer. And I read comics. I'm fucking asking as a general person that's admitting my problem, and then I don't care enough about Black Adam to know why he's got pointy ears. I want someone to explain to me why he's got pointy ears. Channel magic better.
I feel like that's kind of racist. I'm not too sure.
Constantine doesn't got pointy ears. Zatanna doesn't got pointy ears. They do pretty well with channeling and magic without pointy ears. But I mean, they're not Shazam magic. But
I honestly don't know this one, and that's because I know in Batman versus Superman, Public Enemies, why they send Power Girl to deal with the new Toy Man. Like, I know that reasoning. The new Toy Man's a teenager and he's a boob man, but I don't know about this.
Our Raza would say he's a duende. I'm telling you, dude, it's fucking wild in the comment, dude. Gabe also says, man, that widow's peak, dude, that's like a whole ass mountain widow, man. Like, that shit, like, it starts from the forehead, goes all the way to the back of his head, and then comes back to the front. That's the wildest fucking widow's peak I've ever seen on a man. It's wild. I could never understand that. And I get the pointy ears, like I said before. I don't think it kills it too bad. But
I just got a bad joke in my head. It's not a mountain's widow's peak. It's the rocks widow's peak.
It's the rocks widow's peak. Now, of course, with the release and the early reactions and, of course, the mixed reactions, of course, it's just the way of the world. Have you heard of the leak that a lot of people are talking about when it comes to this film?
I heard about that leak like within 3 minutes of it dropping and TikTok shoving it in my face. Like, I saw it.
And I was telling people about this shit like last week.
Yep.
I was literally like, "Oh, hey, dude, you know there's gonna be a cameo in the film," and Brian was like, "I doubt it, man." And I was like, "No, no, no," like because DC does not know what the fuck they're doing, man.
No.
Like they know what they're doing, but they don't know what they're doing at the same time.
I mean, at this point, I mean, we couldn't trust DC with my locker combination. Like they leak everything. Holy crap! And mind
So,
you, it could be a strategic leak. We discussed this before
mhm,
a couple of months back, but the last time I was on with you guys, you
mhm.
know, the PR move of like, oh, we had a security breach and it's out there, and now there's hype for the movie. Everybody wants to go
Oh,
see
dude, yeah, everybody wants to see it, and we were talking about it too. I think Brian and I were talking about this like I would say like 3 weeks ago on the podcast where he was like, "No way, The Rock saves the DCEU," and I
it.
was
But
like, "I
if
don't know,
there's
man."
somebody with enough star power, it's
With
The
a
Rock.
with a cameo, like the idea of what they're talking about. So, for anybody that's out there, there was a leak that had already been talked about throughout the internet. Everybody had already been talking about this, and the spoiler for that idea, which we don't know if it's true, but if it's true, you should have seen this shit coming like since last year because there's no way to save the fucking if DC didn't do this you could just give the fuck up on it, dude. um Henry Cavill's supposed to come out and they released a regular trailer where he was like, no one on this planet can stop me, and literally like the next part, you know, Grace from Grace YouTube or whatever, John Sapia from, you know, New Rockstars, everyone's like, oh dude, well that's an easy script for like, oh well, I'm not from this planet.
Yep.
And that's like what a Boy Scout would say. Well, thank God I'm fucking not from here or whatever. Like it's just stupid one-liners.
Yeah, thank God my passport's still functioning.
Yeah.
Up and away.
fucking Starship Trooper conversation.
Do you want to know more?
Movie, dude. You trying to be a hero, Watson? You trying to kill some bugs, sir?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, God damn it, dude. Like, yeah, there is talks that Henry Cavill comes out at the last part, which of course we talked about this before on the show. It's nothing new. Everybody in the comment sections already heard me blast this since like the last 4 or 5 months that they need Henry Cavill. And Henry Cavill, if
there's no one else they can have play right now.
There's no one else. Sense. I think the biggest surprise for me is on Shazam, Gal Gadot is supposed to come out. To me, that's a bigger surprise. Why? No one gives a shit about Gal Gadot. Like, no one's even talked about her. Goddamn. I feel so bad for her because, like, no one talks about her. They're like, man, Ben Affleck, man, Henry Cavill, and Gal Gadot's just there eating fucking potatoes or hamburgers, crying in her bed.
She does a great job, but her star power is off. You know, even in other films she's in, she doesn't seem to be able to carry the kind of recognition she should. I mean, what was it? Red Notice with Ryan Reynolds and The Rock.
I think she did pretty good.
Yeah, she did great in that film, but no one talked about her. Everything was about Ryan. Everything was about The Rock, and they just.
I think it's because they're just so like. There's just such an overlapping shadow that they both cast. The Rock is like the most entertaining man in business, and Ryan Reynolds is like the fucking biggest troll in Hollywood. And then Gal Gadot is just Gal Gadot. She's like, everyone's like, oh, dude, she's really Wonder Woman. Like, I guarantee it. And she dated Khan or whatever that guy's name is in Fast and the Furious or whatever. Yeah. Like, that's all we know. But like, I guess it's one of those things like you just expect her to do a great job. Like, because in Red Notice, she did a great job. Everything was delivered correctly. You know, Gal Gadot's a beautiful lady. She came through like, but then again, I don't know if that's like a bad part of me as a man saying, or even critiquing the idea that she's a pretty lady and putting that in the marks of her being a successful person.
You know,
I don't know if that's like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's hardwired into my head that I'm like, she's pretty, man. That's awesome. Like, it's like, that's not a fucking skill, asshole.
Yeah, you know, but honestly, I don't want to say that it's bad to say, oh, she's pretty, she's doing a good job.
Nah.
I do want to say that her physical attributes, like her beauty and her stature, the way she carries herself is very Wonder Woman.
Yes,
like,
yes.
She embodies the character perfectly. Like from a classic standpoint that does justice to Linda Carter in the original show, the comic book.
The elegance.
Yeah, there's an elegance and grace and danger to her. And I think she does a wonderful job. But at the same time, she's walking as a Amazon amongst Titans. You know, Henry Cavill is our generation Superman. Ben Affleck, for all the shit we gave him, did a great job as Batman.
Oh yeah,
you know, he was great. Yeah, you know, we have, you know, fucking Dwayne The Rock Johnson coming in as Black Adam, which was really the weirdest character to get his own solo flick. but he wanted it, so he got it because The Rock's gonna get what he wants.
Yeah, I think that DC had to fold to get a character like him. Like they had to have approached him and they were like, "Hey, we want to bring you into this film," and he's like, "Well, you're not going to get me unless I get my own shot."
Yeah,
and they're like, "But your character's a villain for Shazam," and he's like, "I don't give a shit.
yep.
Like you just make a fucking movie for me and just put it as is." And he was like, "I'll use my Twitter and my social media and I'll bring people to the theaters and save your universe."
And that's literally what he's doing.
Yeah, and you know what? Like a couple of months ago, there was an interview done and they were like, "Yo, what are the odds you're gonna work or be a part of Shazam?" And he's like, "I'm not gonna be a part of Shazam. Fuck Shazam."
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, then of course there was another interview done recently where he was like, "Yes, dude, me and Zach are working together. We're talking about our film that we're gonna be doing together. Like, we're really excited." And then of course a couple of months ago, they were like, "Yo, what are the odds that we get Henry Cavill versus The Rock?" And he was like, "Fuck Henry Cavill. I'll kick that dude's ass any day."
Yep.
And then lo and behold, a couple of months later, The Rock comes out and he's like, "No, you know what? Like, I called Henry and we talked about it, and I've been talking to him every day. We're talking about building this franchise
it's
and
something
rebuilding
that
it."
people don't realize, but Dwayne Johnson, not The Rock, Dwayne is an amazing businessman.
Yes, he is.
He knows how to be an entertainer. I go back to his show Young Rock. You watch this dramatized version of his life story, but you get the hintings at that his parents taught him how to sell himself properly as a character. And that's what he's doing here. He knows that, okay, you know what? I didn't want to be in a Shazam movie because it was going to be dumb. Oh, but Shazam hit it. Zachary did a good job. Okay, there's money there. Let me go get the money. Oh, I'm not going to fight Henry Cavill because he's out. Superman's going to be replaced. Oh, shit, but the fans really want it. And if I fight Henry Cavill as Suits, I'm going to make some money. So let me give him a call.
Everyone knows.
Yeah, everyone knows what he's doing.
If people hear, like everyone hears it, the internet breaks when someone's like, "Yo, someone saw Henry Cavill wearing a blue shirt with red on it."
Yep.
Like people, though, the internet cracks in half when Henry Cavill wears something that's even close to being in a suit that's fitting to see if he's going to be Superman again. And there's no way that if we feel that way, that Dwayne The Rock Johnson or DC or fucking Universal or whoever doesn't know that he has that much power just by wearing a shirt.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They know the power and they know what it's capable of. And they just kind of attack it in the way of an inventor does, where you don't give your final variation of your product at the very beginning.
Yep.
You got to put it out there and let it get broken and replace and make money with it. You got to build into it until you give everybody what they finally want. Yep. Of course, the DC universe has kind of been up and down with its recent situations, of course, with some of the actors, Ezra Miller.
The Ezra verse at this point.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like maybe he's just a really good method actor. And when the Flash movie comes out, they're going to do the multiverse and he's going to run into our universe and he's going to see himself being arrested and be like, "Oh man, thank God I'm not from here. This Barry Allen's really crazy," or whatever. And then he fucking leaves and he makes fun of himself.
I'm calling it now. The Rock, Black Adam's going to show up in the Flash movie and he's the one that kills the Flash and we get a new Flash.
He just lands on him.
That's how Black Adam fixes everything.
He just fucking lands on him, dude. Just spoke.
And then Grant Gustin walks in or something.
And he's like, "I just stepped in something weird or whatever." Like,
ketchup. Who puts ketchup on the floor?
Yeah, that would be hilarious, man. As a matter of fact, I just read earlier that Kevin Smith is actually going to debut the Snyderverse as a theatrical release. Really? So there's a big event coming up called the Smod Castle event that he's running. And he's going to theatrically release the Snyder Cut, which has never been done. So
I don't think I can sit down for 4 hours.
Fuck no, dude. Not again, man.
Yeah, but you know what? That's driving from the Valley to San Antonio. And I already do that way too much to want to sit down in the theater to do it.
But then again, here we are. Again, the DC universe, or at least someone that's a part of it, who's up there that has some type of who has the guys from the DC cinematic universe on speed dial. Kevin Smith still messing with the Snyderverse. Now, with that possibility of them doing a theatrical release of which had never been done for the Snyderverse since it just got an HBO release, with Henry Cavill coming back, being that he is in the post-credit scene and he's dressed in the actual like Man of Steel Superman outfit, is it safe to say that DC is moving forward with the Snyderverse?
I want to say that they're not moving forward with the Snyderverse as originally envisioned. They're going forward with a version of it because it's what the fans understand. But I do think whatever happens in the Flash rewrites a bunch of shit, and we're going to get new versions of it. And I mean, going to Saul's question here about Grant Gustin, whatever his last name is.
Grant Gustin.
Yeah, being the new Flash because he was a Flash in the TV series, I'd be fine with it. Hell, I'd be cool with John Wesley Shipp coming in and reprising.
He has to.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
If they're bringing Michael Keaton, and the Flash TV show has done this tremendously, honoring all the old 80s and the multiverse and all that stuff, they have to do it in the film. They have to do it in the Flash film. Now, the question that Sal asks is, would you all be okay with Grant Gustafson replacing Ezra Miller? For me, I wouldn't be down for it. And the only reason why it's nothing against either one of the actors. I love Grant Gustafson's Flash. I think he's done an amazing job through and through. But it's because when they did the crossover, Grant Gustin had the honor. They respected his character enough, and they represented it. And Ezra Miller was one that had called this shit years ago. We thought he was crazy for it. When Ezra Miller shows up in the crossover, he wasn't named yet. And Grant Gustin said, "Oh, you're the Flash." And Ezra Miller goes, the Flash. He had never been named. He didn't know who he was. And Grant Gustin's Flash named the cinematic universe's Flash. And I was like, that's it. Like that's to me, that's like a nail that another Flash has put in for another nail. That's a passing of the torch. That was, when they brought in John Wesley Shipp to be the Flash, and then to be the older character,
Jay Garrick,
Jay Garrett. When they brought him in as Jay Garrett, that was him passing the torch to the Grant Gustin. But even better is when they brought the 80s Flash and then had him be the Crisis Flash that ran on the treadmill and died. Like during that was a passing of the torch to Grant Gustin's, because he's there telling him, you keep running. Like now it's your turn. And then he ran it, and then later on he runs into the Flash, Ezra Miller, and he passes the torch to him by naming him the Flash, which that goes back to the very beginning of like comic book history for the Flash, where you end up finding out that the Flash through time came back and gave himself the powers, hit himself with the lightning bolt in the old comic books.
Yep.
I think could it be done with Grant Gustin? 100%. I think he could 100% pull that off. And I think when we all go watch it, we're just going to be like, wow, the CW's come so far.
Yeah.
Like, look at him. Now he's on the big screen. In fact, I wouldn't even mind it being that in the new Flash movie, like Grant Gustin runs in and Ezra Miller's Flash does the Crisis and disappears. Like, and that's how they kind of let go of his character. But then again, it's like John Wesley Shipp already did that, and he did it so masterfully. Like Ezra's just put a really big mark on this, but I think with what we've talked about before, where he's just going to end up doing, nurse, what is it? The fucking rehab and all that stuff. And then PR saving.
And all jazz.
Yeah, they'll release it as normal. I just don't think, in my opinion, I don't think they're going to go through and through with the Snyderverse. That whole future that he made, like, I don't think they're going to get that far.
Yeah.
I think we get to like a Darkseid invading Earth, the War series, and all of them coming together and doing their thing, maybe. But yeah, I don't think we're ever going to get to like the future apocalypse world kind of stuff. So,
yeah, and even then, I don't think I want Darkseid to show up as the next villain. I would much prefer a Legion of Doom. Give us a JLA and the anti-JLA fighting each other. Batman up against the Joker.
That'd be cool.
Superman up against Lex Luthor. All those characters they built together.
I wouldn't even. I would like to see Mogul or that one. What's his name? That the one. God, I can't remember his name. He always reminds me of Astro Man or Astro Boy. Amazo.
I
would love to see Amazo versus the Justice League. Like I think
I would prefer if they hadn't used him in Suicide Squad. Starro.
Starro.
Yeah, because he
But that
was
was like the first villain of the Justice League. That's
yeah,
what
man,
brought them all
giant ass
together.
starfish shows up in the sky and starts taking over the world. That's a weird one. Let's go with that.
Solomon Grundy would be pretty cool, but I kind of would rather like to see. It sounds weird as fuck, but I would like to see a Solomon Grundy versus Batman movie.
Yeah.
Where
What is
like
his name?
Solomon Grundy is
Solomon
just
Grundy, born on a Wednesday, died on a Sunday, or what was it?
yeah, but I would like to see a Solomon Grundy film where he's like the way that they would portray Killer Croc in the sewers. Like
Yeah.
he's that horror vibe for Batman in the sewers. And it's just crazy built fucking zombie that looks like the Hulk. Like he's just always been like a crazy character to me. But yeah,
Yes, I think Solomon Grundy is one of those that he's a massive threat, but if handled correctly, is a joke villain. I can't remember what issue it is, but I do remember that Solomon Grundy and Bizarro are up against each other in Gotham, and Solomon Grundy is speaking his riddle, his rhyme, and Bizarro is answering in the negative, trying to be positive for what he's saying. And they've confused each other so much that they can't go anywhere. They're just sitting in a room, confusing the shit out of each other. And Superman says, well, that's a better prison than Gotham, than Arkham. And Batman's like, everything's a better prison than Arkham.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're both really interesting. Bizarro's an interesting character. I wouldn't even mind having the next Superman movie with a Bizarro character, but that's already getting way into the idea of realms and stuff. DC just needs to get something right. And so far from what we've heard, Black Adam has not been a huge negative. For them to say the story sucks, that's fantastic because it's a Rock movie. I'm not expecting for it to be an Academy Award winning Interview with a Vampire movie.
Yeah, as long as Vin Diesel doesn't show up and says it's about family.
I'm okay and pulls a shotgun out. Pulls a shotgun out and shows up in a fucking Hemi or something. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. But through and through, I'm kind of excited. I'm really excited to see where Black Adam's going to take the DCU. It's about time that they got some shit together, and I hope The Rock has a great idea, man. I hope he does. I hope he knows what he's doing because DC don't. Because DC don't know what the fuck they're doing. Onwards to the last part of the conversation. Vince says, before we go to the next part, what if he comes out and says, I am Groot? Sal, you're killing me, Smalls. Killing me, man. Vince comes out and says, if they swap where Thanos versus Justice League and Darkseid versus Avengers, who will survive? The Justice League would take the fuck out of Thanos. And Darkseid would rock the Avengers shit, dude.
I think Darkseid would have a bigger problem with the magical partners of the Avengers than Cap and Iron Man.
Yeah, but that's if Wanda can get her shit straight. She's still worried about her kids. Yeah, and Doctor Strange, yeah. But I mean, dude, how many times has Darkseid swapped like fucking what's his face? Dr. Fate? Just swatched him away. I mean, the Spectre, he'll fucking take out everybody.
Versus Avengers comic, it was pretty much the same way. Thanos got his ass rocked with Superman soups. You know, he just went and beat the living hell out of Thanos. He has nothing.
Yeah, dude. And the reason why it has nothing to do about like anything crazy. It's not favoritism, but it's the way the characters are written. You have to remember Thanos is a person. Like he's a dude. He's just an eternal, but he's just got fucking purple skin. Like Darkseid is a incarnation of a part of his power where there's a real ass version of himself that's out there somewhere that's strong as fuck in the multiverse.
Yeah,
so think of like a multiverse nexus if it was a dude, and that would be Darkseid. Like he's Galactus. He's Owen Reese. He's the Molecule Man. He's the constant that's in every universe, but there's no like him in a universe. Mm-hmm. Like it's just it's fucking wild. Darkseid is a animal, dude.
Yep.
Animal. Release the Sentry and Blue Marvel.
Just stick our Superman against him, basically.
Just every Superman, Guardian, fucking send them all, dude.
Yep.
Like send them all. You can send Captain Marvel too. Just everybody can get a piece of that shit. He's got hands for days, bro. I mean, he killed Batman so hard. He said he didn't even kill him. He sent him back his ass in time. You know, he shot him so hard with some laser beams that Superman gets tanked with. And it hit him so hard and sent his ass back in time. His soul didn't even know where to go. It just went back in time. So wild, dude. No, Blue Marvel is above Superman. I mean,
depends on the version of Superman.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, it's really wild because Blue Marvel is written a fucking stud, dude. And you know what? As a matter of fact, mentioning it, the Puerto Rican guy that plays the elf in Lord of Rings, Ring of
Rings of
Power,
Power.
I think he would
Him
be a
as fucking
badass Adam Brashear, dude.
Why do you have to put that thought in my mind? He'd be perfect for it. Holy crap.
We were talking about this last week. We were talking about because I was talking about. I was like, man, dude, that dude is like. He looks fucking fantastic. He's so cool, like fantasy wise. He's got like the dark skin, the colored eyes, like, and those are his real fucking eyes. Yep. That's not like contacts. Like that's what every person is like. Man, I wish I had colored eyes. That's what we wish we looked like.
Yeah.
And I was like, this motherfucker could play Adam Brashear.
Watching it, I was like, man, that's a pretty motherfucker. Like that's a pretty elf.
That's a pretty motherfucker, man. I said that shit last week. And you know what? And then I said the dude that plays Mother's Milk would be a badass Adam Brashear. Like those two dudes, Adam Brashear, man, straight up Blue Marvel. Blue Marvel needs that shit. But I'm still excited. What is up, John? My bro. What's up, dude? My bro. We got Sal says, how about Dr. Doom with prep time? Dude, everybody with prep time, man. I hate prep time so much. I hate Batman prep time.
Dr. Doom surpasses Batman because Doom needs no prep time. Doom is prep time. Doom is Doom. Like that's it. Yeah, he has his time platform. He has his gadgets. He has fucking magic. Doom is just there. He's ready to roll. Like he doesn't need.
I hate prep time, dude.
Yeah, I hate.
You know what I hate prep time for?
Batman can take everybody with prep time. Like, no,
that's exactly why I hate prep time. And you know why I hate it so much is because then after the prep time premise came around, DC being so checked out of being creative was like, yo, we should make a whole universe of just Batmans that took over. And I was like, fuck out of here, dude. Leave him alone. It's just Batman, dude. Like the Dark Metal saga where they had like
Batman is just a dude with parent issues. Like he's just walking mental illness. I mean,
wrong place, wrong time.
He has for a reason.
Just wrong place, wrong time. He's the ultimate comic book character of fuck around and find out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the dude. Like, oh, fuck, man. When Black Metal was coming out, when Dark Metal was coming out, I was kind of like, whoa, they're gonna mix like the old heavy metal comics and animations with like the DC universe. Everyone's getting like a fucking lava arm with a fucking guitar, and I was like, yo, dude, fucking Batman's gonna be the
girls riding pterodactyls for some fucking reason.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You know exactly what I mean.
I know. I grew up in the 80s. I watched them. Yeah.
And then it was just like, oh, what happens if Batman stole everybody's powers? And I was like, man, fuck out of here, man. I don't need this shit. I don't need this shit at all. God damn it. The only one that I thought was cool was, and then they fucked that character up, was of course the Batman Who Laughs. And then they took him and turned him into fucking Dr. Manhattan. And then they turned him into like, I was like, dude, stop, dude. Just stop. The character himself of Batman being poisoned by the Joker's poison and turning into the Joker of his universe, fantastic. What a great theory. What a great thing. But to be like, the only way to stop that Batman is for our Batman to be Batman and fight Batman as Batman, and the Joker has to watch. I was like, what kind of fucking cuck shit is this, dude? What kind of like, that's like, who the fuck is writing this, man? Like, I'm so done.
It was self-love porn is really what it was.
Yeah, that's really what it was. It was just fucking someone's just jerking off Batman in a Batman outfit. Mm-hmm. That's all that show was. But yeah, the DC universe needs help. Onwards onto our last part of the conversation. That was a fucking great ending. That was the greatest way to talk about Dark Metal. Of course, we came to a final finale. Disney Plus has finally released its last episode of the award-winning, super awesome, totally tubular-astic, fucking attorney at law comedy show. She-Hulk episode 9 season finale.
Sensational She-Hulk attorney at law.
Attorney at law. We finally got our entire episode. Ooh, Brandon Ruth is Doom. Get out. That's awesome. Anybody can play Doom right now. Brandon Ruth is Doom. Yeah, that'd be cool. I was even thinking Kylo Ren, dude. I said that last week. Fucking Kylo Ren is Doom. He literally played Dr. Doom in fucking Star Wars. Yeah. So but yes, now we are onwards to our last part of the conversation. Everybody, join in with us. We are talking She-Hulk episode 9, the final, came out, season finale, everything kind of through and through. fucking curveballs left and right, just wild shit. And my biggest question, what the fuck was this all about? Like, I don't know what the story was about still.
I'm gonna say it, and I will say it with my whole chest. This was a fuck you to the trolls. 100% this was, I'm gonna piss on Twitter today and just piss everybody off. Because the entire episode just pointed out all the things people bitched about. The entire season.
Yeah.
Every single bit. Every single bit. And I loved it for it. If we were going to go out with a troll, this was the troll it went out with.
Okay. I get that. But what did we learn about She-Hulk in the MCU?
What we learned about She-Hulk in the MCU is that her comic, just like her show, is not going to follow what a traditional superhero storyline should follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the point they make when the show starts. She says this is not a traditional superhero show. And she makes fun of it the entire time. Whose show is this? You know, things are starting to happen that lead us in the direction of a hero show. These cameos, when she said this isn't a cameo show or a cameo of the week show. And we still get fucking cameos the entire time. You know, they're doing these things because that's the algorithm. That's what we expect of a show, of a superhero show. And then the ending says, fuck all you guys. I'm going to get rid of it.
I mean, Robert's explanation explains more of the story than what you just did. Which she's like, she just wants sex, man. Like, she has needs, Mike. She has needs.
I knew Robert was a show. As soon as somebody mentioned She-Hulk,
I knew Robert was
it's like saying fucking Candyman 3 times. You know, you say She-Hulk, Robert fucking shows up. And he's all for what did he say? She's the one that claps, or what the hell was it?
I have no idea.
She-Hulk is the one who claps.
So yeah, She-Hulk's the one who claps. She claps cheeks, man. Yes, I agree with you that the show itself took liberties to kind of say, hey, you know what? We know exactly what the people that complain about these films are going to complain about, so let's make fun of that. Mm-hmm. I get that 100%. One, this was probably one of the shittiest attorney crime comedy shows I've ever seen in my whole life, because it did nothing, even though that was the whole premise, was that it was going to be there was an idea that we thought it was going to look like or be like
Ally McBeal.
We were going to get like kind of like that one episode where like the changeling, the light elf, was kind of like changing up, and we thought it was going to be like that, where it was going to be like, oh dude, a Daredevil, he's go against him in a courtroom, and then all of a sudden, like in the next episode, it's like, oh dude, she has to persecute the Wrecking Crew and find out about their weapons. Oh, next one is she's going to do, and there was very little to that. And there was that undertone story where they were trying to make the audience feel like, wow, Jennifer Walters has a really tough life. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you see Thor on a fucking hammer like a witch, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? Like they just throw like the weirdest curveballs to be like, oh yeah, we know what you guys are gonna want. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some really good comedy gold parts to the show. Like, I'm not gonna not deny that. There were some parts that I was like, God damn it, like that's funny. But there's a lot of parts.
Huh? You know you loved Rip It and Ribbit.
Oh yeah, Rip It, dude, the fucking frog guy. Dude, you know what made me laugh is how hard that episode trolled the internet, who people were excited to see Frogman.
Yeah.
Because there were some motherfuckers out there that were like, fuck yeah, we're getting Frogman. He's going to be so cool, and trying to do history lessons and fucking do it. And I was like, why the fuck are y'all excited, dude? Like,
he literally is like a C-level villain. Like,
yeah, it was crazy. And people were like, dude, he looks fucking badass, and here's pictures and all this. And then the episode released, and it's stupid as fuck. He is like the most underutilized character, like throughout the whole goddamn. That's like the Wrecking Crew. The Wrecking Crew. So I was trying to tell Brian this. I still don't even know why the fuck Titania was in this show. Like, her whole entire thing of this show is she was Kool-Aid Man. Like, she just ran through walls. Like, the only thing she didn't do was when she popped in, she just didn't say, oh yeah. Like, that's the only thing she needed, and she would have been the Kool-Aid guy. Because one, how is she just not in jail for like almost killing a bunch of people in a justice of the courtroom? Like, and I get it. There was one episode that's, oh, she bailed out and then she went and made a perfume and all this other, and I was like, well, you don't understand. That's not jaywalking, motherfucker. That's a
Yeah.
federal crime.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
assaulting
federal
a
crime.
federal officer. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is, how the fuck is Titania strong? Like, who the fuck is she? Is she a mutant? She gets superpowers? Did Thanos
well,
bang her? Like,
in the
how the
comics,
fuck
we
is
know
she
where she gets her
strong?
powers from. Doctor Doom gives her powers in the comic.
But how
And
do we know this? Like, she just came in and was just like, "Oh, I'm a YouTuber. Like, here's my camera."
I think that's the beauty of how ridiculous this show ended up being. We don't know. We don't know answers that leave us with
like
more
that's a hard
questions.
defense, Mike. That's 9 episodes of them not explaining shit.
Yeah. And it's a conversation I had with the same gentleman that I had the conversation with that, girls being over sexualized in shows are killing the superhero genre. I was like, motherfucker, no.
No.
So it's been the way it's always been. Yeah, but I do think that what She-Hulk did, at least for me, in my opinion, and I am willing to suspend my disbelief in a lot of things. For me, what She-Hulk did was allow us to see that there's more shit going on that is not answered every week by a specific hero. You know, these characters interact in other worlds. They're crossing over with people that we don't get to see all the time. You know, something's obviously going on with Wong. You know, Abomination knows about it, but we don't know about it. So there's this greater world out there that I can understand. Okay, I didn't get the answers now, but somewhere there's an answer. And all I got to do is wait for it now.
That's horrible, Mike. So, like, that's a horrible explanation, Mike. They introduced Titania in episode 1. And in episode 9, I just didn't even know why she was in the show. Like, she literally holding the camera and she's like, ooh, look at me. She, like, I was kind of like,
yeah, you expecting a murder?
Yeah, I was like, why isn't she just part of like Jennifer's entourage by now? Like, why isn't, I mean, she's just holding a camera. It's like she showed up and broke through a wall, did the Mr. Kool-Aid thing. And then like the next scene is she's just holding the camera recording She-Hulk as she's about to like tell the dude something.
Well,
and I was like,
I'm gonna blame it on Kevin. I'm a fucking Kevin.
I'm gonna blame Kevin. Kevin's man, dude. Kevin man. Goddamn. All season 5, I'm blaming Kevin, man. I am blaming the fuck out of Kevin for season 5, for season 5. But god dang it, dude. Like, there was a part of me, and I'm not gonna lie, like, She-Hulk, she's a cool character in the comics. Like, she's a little abused. And recently in comic books, there was the big push for like, yo, She-Hulk doesn't need to be over sexualized. This was in the comics, and they made her into the big Hulk character and all this shit. And she there was a run, man. There was a long motherfucking run of her just being Bruce Banner's Hulk with a wig on. Like, there was a long motherfucking thing because they just didn't want to make her look as the way she did, where she was more in control and she was more of like just a larger version of a female.
She still had her love interest. I mean, she started fucking dating Thor, you know.
She started, and she was holding him up and carrying him, and it was like literally like episode 3 or whatever, the dating app for Thor and shit. But then they knew the show was coming out, and they were like, "Oh, dude, well, we're gonna hire this actress and we're gonna make her pretty because, you know, sex sells." They went right back to it. They just fucking doubled down on their shit and flew right back to where it was originally. And they even changed her back recently in the comic books, like back to being like the fitness, big model variation of the Hulk. And it was very weird. It was very funny to see the intro with like the Lou Ferrigno weightlifting female. I was like, was this them like paying homage to that comic book line? Because no one liked that comic book line, but this is pretty funny. I don't know if I could really get behind watching the entire show of that Hulk, but dude, that female bodybuilder, man, she was excited as fuck all the time, dude. Yep. There's one part where she like hulks out and she's wearing a dress. She just books it running, and I was like, man, she's fast as fuck, boy. Like, I'll watch a movie of this chick just wrecking shop. Like, I'm down. There was just so much shit
I'd be more afraid of her running at me than Lou Ferrigno running at my ass.
Oh, fuck yeah. There was something about it. I was just like, oh shit. That's scary as fuck. Like, she books, man. When she turns the corner of that camera, like, I was like, no way. I don't want to be on the other side of that camera, man. Yep. There was, of course, we had an introduction, of course, of the villain, sort of, the Todd character, which I guess we all figured out was going to be originally the villain, who then, of course, gets a soldier serum, or not a soldier serum, but the Hulk's blood, was going to turn himself into a Hulk, which, fourth wall break, Jen Walters looks at the camera. She's like, there's no way this is going to work. I do believe that we as comic book readers would not have fallen for that storyline in the first place.
Yeah.
Because it's not the first time. And that's because, we read the comics where, yes, intelligentsia, AIM, you name it, everyone is after the opportunity to control the Hulk's power.
Yep.
And yes, Jennifer Walters, being that she is written as a female, is written without the intelligence to stop people from stealing her powers, which that would be the easier variation to go with. So they used an actual storyline of them. Literally, it's literally, that's why I didn't understand it too much, is because that's the basis behind all the Hulk TV shows, all the Hulk films.
You see, but
they're going to bring out Thunderbolt Ross, and the reason why he's going to turn into the Red Hulk is because they stole Jennifer Walters' power. Like, that's all it's going to be.
That's where the meta comes from, and why I was pleased with it. Like, was it perfect? No. But I was pleased with the fact that they shed light on just the stupidity of how many times in comic books, how many times in these shows do we just accept that the exact antithesis of the hero is the bad guy? Mm-hmm. Like Captain America's villain was Bucky and Red Skull, and they were just super villain versions of himself.
I mean, and not only that, we're going to have the New World Order, and literally the villain of Captain America is a Hydra version of Captain America. Mm-hmm. So it's always in that, right?
Yeah. So I appreciated what they did. And like I said, that's where I left happy with the show, because the comedy was on point. They made my ass laugh with the ridiculousness of everything. Matter of fact, the only time I was displeased with that episode was what we got at the end, and my first words out of my mouth was like, "Man, Chris is going to be pissed."
I'm so happy, dude, that you thought of me. I'm so happy.
Because right when I saw it, and everybody in the chat saying Shrek and Son.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too, man. Fuck, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, but poking fun at Kevin, poking fun at the writer's room, and calling out what every superhero show, what every superhero comic is. Oh, we stole the blood, but the blood isn't the bad guy. The blood isn't the villain. Mm-hmm. They sensationalize this idea that the hero's carrying the sin with them, and it's this long held belief that the hero is his worst enemy. King Arthur births Morgan, his son, that kills him. Lancelot carries the sin of sleeping in the Guinevere, so he's the bad guy. No, like the hero isn't the bad guy. There are outside circumstances that have forced him into that position, but we're only seeing the one in the spotlight because, like the Green Goblin said in the first Spider-Man, there's nothing more than people love to see than a hero fall from grace. Mm-hmm. That they support you now, but to see you trip and fall and stumble is what they want. And I think She-Hulk did a really good job about bringing that to light and showing us that they just weren't going to do it.
Yeah, there was of course, like the previous episode where they did the whole the drag out on social media, the sex tape and all that other stuff. And then you see her fall into the rage and break a TV and turn around. And that's where you see the consequence of her being a Hulk. So first time she realized that there's a very big consequence in the power itself. And that's where I kind of I'd have to kind of slightly disagree with the antithesis part of them needing a Hulk as a villain is absolutely correct. I think you're absolutely correct where it's like, dude, they don't have to do it that way all the time. Where like the actual villain of a Hulk needs to be someone else with the same powers, and then she just beats him up, and then through and through, shown in the power of friendship, that's the only thing that he has, where she comes on top, right? Or he gets in. Yeah. But the thing is the very big drasticness is the ultimate variation of the Hulk, where the idea of the super soldier serum is literally the backstory to every character in the comic books. Yeah. Where literally the introduction of Captain America being the super soldier then creates the Weapon X program, then creates the introduction to the United States reaching to try to reestablish it, creating a Hulk program, and then accidentally Bruce Banner stumbling across this and then trying to go back to the soldier serum to prevent it. It's literally almost embedded in the DNA of the storytelling of Marvel, that the Hulk blood and the story of the power itself is far larger than it just being a power set for someone.
And I feel like if we go back in the films, I think a better interpretation of what you're describing was Ang Lee's Hulk.
Yes, the first
Eric
one.
Bana.
Yeah.
Like Hulk wasn't a good guy and he wasn't a bad guy. He was a force of nature.
Yep.
And his villain, I mean,
I
his
love
father,
that
which
one, dude.
could be the absorbing man in essence, was a better example of what Hulk's power could do if used incorrectly. Because I mean, Hulk says it best. You know, you want the power, take it all.
Take it all. Yeah, yeah. Don't fucking take a piece of it.
Yeah,
I want to be rid of it because
destroys.
it's a curse. It's a curse.
Yep.
I think that's where this story falls flat with them deleting the idea of the blood storyline, because through and through that is a very good constant reminder of why Bruce lives in such fear and survival mode all the time. If you remove that from a character and you make them nonchalant and don't care, then it puts the situation where it kind of like it's easy story where like someone just like they hook up for a night and someone, you know, fucking roaches this chick, or I don't know what they call it, like sex drugs her and steals her blood like if it was nothing. And then the story's just written like, oh, someone stole my blood. But now
you see, and that's the part that bothered me about the bloodline storyline, because in the comic books or even in the movies, you know, Hulk takes over when Banner's shut down.
Yes.
And Hulk
has a split personality.
Yeah, you know, he says it in, I think it's in the Avengers. He's like, I put a bullet in my head. I put the gun in my mouth. Shot. Yeah, the guy spit it out. You know, and I do think someone trying to steal Jennifer's blood, as soon as they put a needle in her, she would have hulked out, and the Hulk would have taken over.
Yeah, that's where I was kind of a little bit taken, where I was like, how did this guy get the power, dude? Like, or how did he take her blood without her freaking out? But then again, that goes off of the ideas like, how was she able to procreate without losing control either? Because that's a big part of the Hulk too, because it deals with his anxiety or his heart rate or his blood pressure. They give you a pretty definitive scientific way, because when Stan Lee was alive, when it came to explaining powers, it needed to be embedded in some type of science. You know, it talks about Thor and the hammer. Like now we just watch him and he just takes off and he's fine. But Stan Lee was very honorable in the idea of being like, no. Since the hammer weighs like 1,000,000 tons or whatever, he literally has to spin it and he throws it and it carries him. Like, so Stan Lee was very thorough on making sure that the science and the explanation was still there. Yeah. I think that's a huge factor of why Marvel is slacking, because of the fact that they're not getting as detailed as they should be. The interesting parts, of course, were like the Abomination story, right? Now, we know in the previous episode, Abomination had like an ankle thing that had broken off. So are we to assume, without the story, because it didn't really give us any explanation, that he was doing multiple versions of this, or was this the first time? Because it didn't really explain why it fell off.
In the quick explanation, he's like, oh, I've been doing speaking engagements as Abomination.
As the Abomination, right?
Yeah,
see, I didn't get that in the
show. One of the villains he has there, whatever, is able to take that thing off him. Or hell, maybe Wong does it. I mean, they seem buddy. So it's one of those, like, I'll suspend disbelief and like won't worry about how that thing comes off, but he's been figuring out a way to do it.
Yeah, because that was one of the parts that I was kind of like, okay. And then I remember I just keep chalking it up to the idea that they ended up moving a bunch of the episodes around.
Yeah.
And that this episode might have, but then he gets arrested at the end, which might have been an extra scene that was recorded. But I don't know. It's kind of up in the air. It's weird. Again, they showed the life destruction of Jennifer Walters. And then again, for them saying that they don't want to write bad stuff, like she ended up just going back to Blonsky's retreat center again. And then it just so happened she went to the retreat center, which, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, they're in LA, right?
I think so.
Or are they in New York?
They're in LA.
Okay, they're in LA, which I'm guessing LA is pretty fucking huge. Like, LA is pretty huge. So what are the odds that Jennifer Walters goes to the same place that her villain books an event center, like to have a public? What are the odds of that shit happening?
I don't want to say there's high odds in a normal world, but Blonsky is the only villain that other villains would probably be comfortable with in the situation.
I mean, he's not a villain anymore. He already apologized. He wrote haikus, man.
Yeah, but they don't give a shit. He's the guy that fights the Hulk.
Yeah, he doesn't. And I kind of like, I've dug the way that they ended with Blonsky, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Yeah. But I was kind of taken at how easy and how lazy writing that was. That it was like, oh, well, you know what? Like, I'm moving back to my parents' house. I'm just gonna go to Blonsky's and have a mental day. And then she shows up, and it just so happens fucking Todd and the dudes are in the back, and it's supposed to be a private event, and she just casually just fucking jumps in anyways, even though it's a private event. Which I would be like, hey, you can't go to that. There's someone rented that shit out.
Yeah,
You
but I
know what I
mean,
mean? It's
it goes down to with the way her characters played the entire season. You know, she before she was She-Hulk, she had no fucking boundaries. She would talk shit to Bruce. You know, she was just a person that had no
no
personal
filter.
space with everybody, no filter. Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a jerk, straight up.
So then she shows up, and this is the part. She sees Blonsky, and Blonsky turns around and automatically knows he's not supposed to be doing that. And that's where, to me, it was supposed to be like, oh, it's a one-off thing. Like he hadn't been doing this. He just tried it because he's like, dude, I'm sorry. Like I didn't do that. They paid me a lot of money though. Like I just wanted to make some cash. Like, and then even the guy Todd earlier was like, yeah, we made some money or whatever. And then of course it starts getting into this, like the Todd guy injects himself with the Hulk thing. And I was a little bit like, well, technically that's not going to work because there's no other science bullshit to activate the powers once he injects it. Like that's what I'm expecting. That's what Marvel does. Yeah, because Marvel will usually be like, oh, gamma, then radiation, then some fucking special type of electricity at a certain degree. Like, it's never just a one and done. So I was kind of like a little bit taken when he just injected himself and his shit started falling and stuff. I like the transformation. That was pretty cool. And for some reason, I kind of feel like this guy is going to be like A-Bomb. Like he's gonna be like one of those like random Hulk characters that's gonna kind of show up later, and he still has the power, but they're just not gonna like really reference it too much.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be like the fucking Mexican guy in Ant-Man that's always telling weird jokes or something. He's gonna be like one of those guys. But then that's when we have the part where Jennifer's character starts breaking the fourth wall, and she's breaking the fourth wall kind of like, I mean, not to the idea that we are, because there were parts of me that were like, okay, cool, we're gonna get some action. And then her character's like, what? Are we really going this way? And then all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, jumps in through the wall. And I was like, when that happened, Mike, I was literally like, what? Like, why is this fucking chick in this episode? Like, that makes no sense. Like, she wasn't like on a text message. She wasn't anywhere. And yeah, it just started getting fucking weird from there. Like the moment she popped in, I was kind of like, all right, this is weird. And then of course, Todd tries to attack Jennifer. She's not changing because she's following the rules. And I liked that Abomination picked her up and was like, hey, like, dude, fucking stay away from my friend or whatever. I really liked it. I liked the way that they wrote Abomination. There was just something about him that, like, throughout the series, his character's kind of funny. Like, I'm really hoping
that he's trying. Yeah, you got.
Yeah, like I there's something about it that reminded me of the Mephisto. No, not Mephisto. Maestro storyline that's going on right now, where Abomination survived, and he's in the future with Maestro, with Future Hulk, and he's kind of like, hey man, like, I don't really want to fight that guy because he's fucking strong, dude. Like, I just want to drink and chill out. So like, it's him and Namor, and they're just like kicking it like friends on the couch.
Yeah,
like literally what it is. But Namor then gets his fucking family killed, and then he wants to kill the Hulk. And Abomination's like, you do it, man. Like, do you, boo boo? Like, I'm just gonna drink and chill out. He's done. He's like, I'm done, dude. Just I want to work at Chick-fil-A. Fuck off, dude. Like, he just doesn't want it, man. So to see his character, like when they're going to attack and the fighting happens and he picks her up and he's kind of keeping her away from all the dudes. And then lo and behold, the one thing I did not think was going to fucking happen is Bruce Banner falls right through the ceiling. He's like, let go of my cousin, asshole. And I was like, the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Why, dude? Because literally, like, them sending him to Sakaar already set up the idea of them doing like a Planet Hulk.
Yeah.
Like, so I was kind of like, for him to come through the window, and I was like, this is going to be fake. This is going to be like, I already know this is going to be like her going to be like tick, 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 and then move the TV screen over and be like, guys, this isn't really happening or whatever. Like, she was going to break the fourth wall in some fucking Zach Morris kind of way. I was not expecting like a fourth wall break and then head into the Marvel app and do all this stuff. I thought that was kind of witty. I thought that was like kind of like it was. I
don't know if it was Saul that said it or whatever, but I did the same thing. I thought I had pushed the wrong fucking button. Like, fuck, I hit the remote. I'm looking at the couch, like, where the hell's the remote?
It had its cool moments, right? And then she's like, no, wait a minute. Yeah, behind the scenes or whatever. And then she kicks. But in my mind, I was like, why is she the Hulk now? Like she can't break the law. She's not supposed to change into the Hulk. Like, did she change to break the fourth wall?
I
Because
think
they
she
didn't explain that.
I think she changed to break the fourth wall.
Yeah, because they didn't explain
In the
that because she
comic
was
book,
literally Jennifer like 5 seconds before that shot.
yeah, because in the comic book, I don't really remember her breaking fourth wall too much as Jen. She did it primarily as She-Hulk.
Well, we got to be careful because she's broken the entire show.
Yeah, in the show,
As
yeah,
Jennifer
as
Walters
Jen.
the entire fucking time. Like, yeah. So then I mean, but I get it that they're not going to have her show up as Jennifer in the real world because she's just a normal chick. Like, they have to do the She-Hulk because that's like woo factor or whatever. And then of course, like she walks into the writers room with the director and all the people, and no one is fucking surprised. And that 100%, and I know no one's gonna get this reference because you have to know comic books. That reminded me of the Jack Kirby God moment in Fantastic Four.
Yep.
Where that's what that reminded me of. And I was like, okay, I see what you all are doing. You're pulling a fast one from like the old school like comics where the characters literally could meet the writers and the artists and all that stuff. And I was like, touche. And touche on She-Hulk's character for being like, dude, this ending sucks. Like, and then those people being, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about the writing or whatever. Like, they had to know that shit was bad.
Yeah.
Like, they had to know. But the thing is like, why waste that potential of making a show with a better storyline and a better movement and then breaking the fourth wall and having them meet and have like an inspiration or do something cool? Like, use that for a better moment. My thing is they're taking this fire of the fourth wall break because Ryan Reynolds, the fucking phenom, is coming. And these people are like, well, we want to do it first in the MCU. That's what I think they're doing this for.
I would give you that. I do think that holds some weight.
Yeah.
I also do believe that the show itself was given so much hell to get here. Fans shit on it before it started. And I do think that at some point they were like, fuck it. We're going to give you what you wanted. We're going to make this a horrible ending and make fun of it the entire way.
But why even do that? That's like going to a bad restaurant and them getting like the 1-star from the fucking Channel 5 news company that their business sucks, and them say, well, if you think we suck, then we're just going to make fucked up food then. Like, why do that? Why not try to improve and say, hey, you know what?
They did it because Disney and Marvel can.
Yeah, I guess that's the way to put it.
At this point, I mean...
But you see what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, 100%. Yeah. And I figured that would be your problem with the episode. Yeah. But looking at it as a meta situation and how much trolling we got in one damn episode.
Yeah.
It really is the ultimate fuck you to all the fanboys that were like, oh no, we can't have girls being empowered. Oh, twerking She-Hulk, she slept with boys. Ooh, girls don't do that.
Shit, that guy that never read the comics, dude. She does way worse. Shit. Yeah, they fucking wrote her in weird. But then again, that's not her fault as a female character. These people need to do their history. This is just me saying they need to do their history and their due diligence to understand that was male artists writing for a young boy audience.
Yeah, there's a literary meme, and that's such a nerd thing for me to bring up. But there's a meme out there that says male writers writing women. It says she walked into the room with her heavy breasts, jaunting breastedly, bouncing boobily. It's just this horribly fucking.
That's the 80s. That's Rob Liefeld, man.
Yeah, it's
Rob Liefeld, man.
Women's bodies.
Rob Liefeld, fucking 4-inch waist, H-size cups, and a fucking ass that's just ginormous.
Captain America had like a J cup when Liefeld used to draw him. I mean,
as a matter of fact, I was literally showing because of the scene we're going to talk about coming up. The scene of Jennifer Walters being one of the Living Tribunal's judges, and they're judging Euros, right?
Yeah.
She comes to the Living Tribunal. She's brought in to the I forgot the magistrate or magistrate. I forgot what it's called. Yeah, it's something really weird, like a weird name. Gamora is there, and Gamora is wearing her old green outfit, which is like kind of like lizard looking green.
Yeah,
and she has like the fishnets and like the weird like tunic style back. And I showed it to Christella, and she couldn't believe it because literally the tunic was like starting at the belt line, and then it went in between her butt cheeks.
Yep.
And then it turned into a tunic after her butt. And I was like, that's the artist telling him like, man, I want to show like the butt of this character, but how do I do it if she's wearing a dress? Dude, I'll just start it from her butthole and draw this skirt out.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, and Chrisella was like, dude, I cannot believe this. I
But
cannot believe this. And I was like, that's the way it was. Like, that's the way it was. And a lot of people never, like, there was a movement, and it was after Spider-Woman, where they drew her on the wall, like with the back broken, and it was like her butt and her head was like 900 degrees. Mm-hmm. And finally someone was like, this is just atrocious with what you people do with anatomy. Like, you guys need to grow up. And there was a movement where they were like, yo, artists need to like have sex with women one day so that they can at least understand what a female anatomy is. Not just draw from what you guys think girls are supposed to look like.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the movement when we had Heroes Reborn after the Onslaught storyline, and Sue Storm comes out of the water beneath Ben Grimm, and her ass is like spread, and her legs are in a position that don't make sense, and her boobs, you can see them even though she's on all. I don't fucking get it,
like, dude. It's a wild time in comics, man. Yeah. And I tell people, like, it's not as bad as you think it is. Like, it's very tamed. Like, a lot of people, of course, like I would assumed, like, okay, Jennifer Walters, like, man, she's dogging out there, man. She's just hooking up with everybody. Like, they're just banging and banging and banging for days, dude, if they could. Like, I would have assumed that Disney and Marvel would have been like, hey, you know what? We fucked up back in the day. Like, let's kind of like pull this character back.
You see, but
and kind of chill a little bit.
That's the difference between a male point of view and female point of view for what we're seeing with She-Hulk. Because as men, we've read these comics this entire time, and we know, like, cochinos. So we were bad.
Yeah, dude, fuck.
We did some horrible shit back in the day, right?
Swimsuit X-Men cards, man.
Yeah, you know,
the cards with all the swimsuit fucking X-Men characters.
I think I still had the Psylocke and the Storm cards, or the fucking Rogue and her Daisy Dukes and the cut off fucking holder top and shit. But you know, now we're seeing female empowerment, you know, through this increase in acceptance of sexual identity. You know, music is that way now. We have Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, you know, Megan Thee Stallion, you know, that was in the series herself. Yep. You know, there's this idea that women can be as sexual or more sexual than most men nowadays. Yeah. And this need to show that they are humans and they have desires and have wants. You know, this isn't fucking Pride and Prejudice. This isn't, you know, Victorian dresses and, oh, Mr. Darcy, I swear you spoke in an uncouth manner. No, fuck no. They're dropping it like it's hot. They're twerking. You know, they want to express themselves.
Yeah, it's very unapologetic.
It's no longer us having to, like you said, apologize for what we did in the past. Now we're having female writers and characters claiming this and saying, you know, fuck you guys. You like this. This is what we're doing now, and you're going to have to live with it.
Yeah. So we ended up having this character at the very end come in because apparently we had her go all the way through the Marvel studio, and she comes and asks for Kevin. Lo and behold, that in the series, they actually tried to get Kevin Feige to be a part of the show, and he denied it every time. He was like, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. Not going to be in anything like that. Not going to be in anything like that. Denied it every time. So eventually they just went with like a Nexus story, which I kind of thought was a very interesting take because of the Loki series, the Kang, the time travel, the multiverse thing coming into our universe, being that it's a different universe. Thought it was very interesting. But at the same time, I also got a nod, and I don't know if it's what they did on purpose or not, but I felt that was a really good nod to when she met the Living Tribunal, and she was on trial as a juror for the Fantastic Four. And she actually had to be a defendant and a lawyer for them. And I kind of felt like that was like, here's this opportunity for Jennifer Walters, this street level character meeting a multi-level Nexus God creature that creates their universe. And she's over here doing like her lawyer stuff, which I thought was a nod if that was the case. And then you had the three lenses, kind of like the Living Tribunal in three different views. Like I was kind of like taken, and I did like the kind of banter. The banter that the android was giving her, like, oh, you're sitting down now. Oh, shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I thought it was kind of funny, man. And I really thought the only thing that I took from that, I mean, yes, of course, the mention of the X-Men, everything was super meta. Everything was super meta. The only thing that I think was done in poor taste was Marvel taking pop shots at the FX people. because the FX people, of course, have been overworked. There's been a lot of
Yeah.
talks where they've been underpaid and all this stuff. And they were literally like, oh, well, let's have you change off screen because the FX guys already went to
Yeah, you're
another
expensive.
project.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other project is a reference to Wakanda Forever because you can hear the bongo drums when she says
Yeah.
another project. You hear the like, you're like, oh shit, that's they're talking about Wakanda Forever. I get that. Um, yeah, that's what I got out of that scene. That was the only thing I think was in bad taste. I didn't really care for the story too much. I think the fourth wall break was too much earlier. I think the fourth wall should have just been done a couple times, like a Zach Morris thing.
Yeah.
And for them to kind of make it into like a whole episode, like it was like a 15 minutes of fourth wall break. I feel like it was a little bit too much, but it was all right. Yeah, and then we get a whole ass resolve without any action and zero Hulk. But then again, it's like, what do you expect? Like, when was the last great story written for any Hulk character in the MCU?
Yeah.
So, like, you know what I mean? Like, they can't do much because they don't own a lot of the stuff with the character. So, what are you going to do? So, that's the way I kind of played it off in my head because I wasn't a big fan of how it came out. I thought it was, like you said, it was very ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But what did you expect for a She-Hulk series?
Yeah, that's where I sit. Like I went in with no expectations and I had fun. It was a weird ride, straight up
it's a
weird
roller
ride.
coaster ride.
Yeah, but I enjoyed the ride. I liked where it went.
And then, of course, the last part, and man, this is a breaker for me. We are introduced to Scar, the Hulk's son, in preparation to the idea that we are getting a World War Hulk film or series or something. I know we're already coming to an end. It's already midnight. I don't want to keep you on too much longer. Mike, I was super disappointed with that.
And I knew you would.
Yeah, there was a part of me that was like, this is so underwhelming. And this should be one of the most important things because this is a moment where Marvel is saying, hey guys, we're going to do a passing of the torch soon. Like, we're bringing in Scar because Universal's never going to work with us. Like, we know we cannot use the Hulk for too much longer. So if we switch it to a character they don't own, we can run with that shit. And we can give you everything you want as a Hulk. But since Universal does not want to play nice with the Hulk character, it's like, what do you do? And man, fucking Scar looks like ass. Like, he looks like he drives like a dropped F-150. Like, and
Yeah,
like just
sure
listens to Norteño, dude, all day long. Like, just Norteño. And he has like a Nuevo Leon sticker in the back. Like, I was like, they didn't even give him long hair. Like, fucking what, dude? Mike,
yeah, the entire buildup of what Scar could have been to what we got was it was something else. And like I said, when I saw it, I was like, oh no, poor Chris.
Dude. That was okay. I'll tell everyone right now in the comments. My version of the westernized live action version of Dragon Ball Z is gonna be World War Hulk. Like, you can't pay me to give a fuck about Marvel being like, hey, we're getting World War Hulk. I'm like, fuck you, dude. We are not getting World War Hulk with that garbage, dude.
So I'm gonna step away real quick because I got to check on my son. But when I come back, I'm gonna throw something at you a buddy of mine threw at me. And it would be the only way to fix what happened. And I want to hear your thoughts about it. But I'll be back in a few minutes, all right?
Yeah, go for it. So I have to ask you guys in the comment section, if you guys are still here, you got a couple watchers. What was your guys' take on them introducing a character like Scar? So the idea is, you've heard me talk about this before on the show a bunch of times. The Planet Hulk story and the World War Hulk story are definitively the top storylines for the Hulk character. Scar, the son of Hulk, there is a second son also, and he's like a more of like a skinny guy or whatever. And it's an interesting character. We talked about it once on the show too. There's really not a lot to go with him. There's really not a lot of his character in the comic books at all. He's gotten in a couple parts. He's made his return every now and then, but literally is just basing him on the idea of the return of the Green Sakaran back to Sakaar, right? Which is the Hulk, his dad coming back. But now we got this story of like the Hulk being an absentee father. He's now bringing his son, who's very like sulky, very like I don't want to be here, a real My Chemical Romance kind of dude. Um, but then again, of course, we have the introduction of Marvel, of course, releasing the idea that they are interested in doing a World War Hulk storyline. My take is the World War Hulk storyline is not going to go as is in the comics, where you have the Hulk coming to Earth and doing stuff. I think it's going to be more based on like almost like a loose version of the World War Hulks, where the Hulks are on the Earth. There's a bunch of people who now have the power, and the Hulk is going to go around as Dr. Banner Hulk, and he's going to go around and stop these dudes and take their power back. And there's going to be eventually what I think is going to be is why we're getting a Red Hulk, because the Red Hulk is going to be the antithesis in the character, and we're going to get that story where it's going to be Green Hulk versus Red Hulk, which of course you heard us talk earlier, where like a lot of times that story of them being that way in comics, where the superhero fights an antithesis of himself, ends up being a purpose to why the character or people say, oh, this is all the same. But I have to ask you, like, minus the leader, minus AIM or something, who else does the Hulk fight that isn't just a character version of himself? Like, that isn't just you want him to fight the Abomination? You want him to fight a future version of himself? You want him to fight A-Bomb? You want him to fight the Red Hulk? You want him to fight the Red Female Hulk? You want him to fight Betty as a Hulk? Like, that's what they got as that character. You want him to fight the Wrecking Crew? There's even comics where he fights Titania. It's just what the Hulks do in the Marvel universe. The villain that's always been probably one of the most important villains when it comes to the MCU for the Hulk is the Hulk himself. Is just the Hulk himself. Sorry, Mike, but we're still in. So what I'm saying is we have this idea of the opportunity of having the World War Hulk movie, which I think is going to be a huge failure. They're going to make it into a series, but what I think they're going to do more of is they're going to do World War Hulks. And they're going to do it to where it's the story of Dr. Banner going around taking everybody's Hulk powers, where they're going to say that Jennifer Walters' Hulk blood is now out in the market, and it's like a super high potential weapon of mass destruction. And Bruce Banner's going to go around and take everybody's power. And at the very end, it's going to be him fighting the Red Hulk. And that's where it's like World War Hulks. You know what I mean? So that's what I think they're going to do.
So I raise you a World War Hulks and say the theory that was given to me is the only way this would make sense to fix Scar. So what if we get a multiverse of madness situation, and we get the other two Hulks? We get the Incredible Hulk that first fought the Abomination, and we get Ang Lee's Hulk all show up, and the Hulk World War Hulk storyline is them trying to stop the Incredible Hulk. The
Ang Lee one?
The Abomination, that he's actually the world breaker. And Smart Hulk and the first Hulk have to go head to head, and that's the Hulk that makes Scar as scary as Scar can actually be.
So you're talking about Ang Lee's Hulk?
No. The second one with Liv Tyler, Ed Norton. Yeah, Norton's Hulk is the world breaker.
But they can't. But the reason why they can't do that is because they use that footage as the Mark Ruffalo Hulk.
Yeah, but we're already traveling a multiverse.
No, but it's not part of another multiverse. The footage from that movie is the footage in the MCU, which means that's the Don Cheadle. That's the Don Cheadle machine.
Showed up at some point.
Yeah,
but that we're forgetting the first rule of multiverse. There are copies of everything, right? Where slight variations made a difference, and we see it every time Wolverine does something in time travel. But we can get Ed Norton coming back as his version of the Hulk, because somewhere along the line, he continued.
That would be interesting. Hulk. I mean, there's a lot of people that would love to see Edward Norton come back as the Hulk.
Yeah, I would think that'd be the only way to fix it. That World War Hulk wouldn't be Hulk going to Sakaar and having that storyline. It'd be Hulk going to Sakaar because there's other Hulks in Sakaar now, and he has
banging people and just leaving his babies everywhere.
It's possible.
Maybe,
I mean,
yeah.
Edward Norton's Hulk was much more akin to, I think, the ultimate version of Hulk than
Yes.
what we're getting now. And that Hulk, I mean, he
You know,
won the
as a
race.
matter of fact, like thinking of that, I wouldn't mind seeing Ang Lee's Hulk come back and do some damage, dude. And it'd be like the Edward Norton Hulk is the one like that's part of this MCU. And the reason why is that's why Abomination is so much bigger than him.
Yeah.
In this one is because that is the same Hulk, just they had to switch the actor out. They just kind of did, it's not too far fetched from what Marvel has done before. But Ang Lee's like Eric Bana comes back as Bruce Banner because that Hulk was like fucking 18 feet tall.
Yeah, that Hulk,
he was a fucking
so
mountain, dude. And he was doing fucking Usain Bolt speed on the side of that mountain. He would be a fucking menace in the MCU, just running around.
Yeah, there's not many characters in the MCU that would handle that Hulk. I mean,
dude, I would love to see that one just cut it, run amok, dude, in the fucking MCU. I would die to see that. That would be fucking funny to me. Just imagine they were just like, oh shit, like there's a situation, Avengers, and they're like, what happened? There's just a green fucking blur. Like it looks like the Hulk, but he's like 80 feet tall, man. And he's like running at like top-notch speeds. It's just Vin Diesel and just fucking running painted green, dude. Just yelling out fam with
that Hulk's advantage was. That Hulk's power was evolution. The more damage he took, he got stronger. Yeah. His body changed. He got bigger. He would get thicker skin.
I love that Hulk. I love the way that they did that Hulk. My favorite scene is when he's like in the underground like bunker and he's like leaning down and that place is fucking ginormous, but he's like fucking trapped like short. I was like, this is wild, dude. Like when I was young, I was like, this is crazy. And the first time he comes out of the sewer like covered in poop and he's just like, I was like, this is fucking nuts, dude. There's no way nobody stops this guy, dude. No way.
For me, that's the Hulk in Secret Wars that holds up the mountain.
Yeah, fuck yeah, definitely, definitely, man.
So I foresee that something like that is a possibility. That we're just gonna get a mashup of fuckery, Hulks everywhere, and that's our World War Hulk.
That'd be so nuts for no fucking reason. Marvel's like, well, dude, you saw She-Hulk, dude. We don't even care anymore.
Yeah, like here's we put him in the makeup.
We called there's a Hulk King, and here's the fucking Hulkling. We're just gonna add everybody. And fucking, we brought the animated cartoon character. We got the Pops version. Like they're all here, dude. Everybody's gonna get that shit. There's just a little pop version of the Hulk running around, dude. They bring in Little Monster from the fucking the Hulk that was Ant-Man, the one in the new comic. Oh, dude, I would fucking love it, man. I gotta ask. I fucking Brian would be laughing his ass off, dude. This whole conversation is nuts. He loved the She-Hulk series. I fucking goddamn it. Fucking shit. Mike, I have to ask. Rating for this episode and then rating for the series overall. What do you give it?
For this episode, for the meta alone, for the trolling, it's an 8.
God damn, dude, you're way too nice to these people.
Because it's the trolling for me. I see what they're doing, and as a writer myself, when I get sick and tired, it happens in Dungeons and Dragons, it happens in D&D. You run a storyline, and your players start bitching about things. Like, I wouldn't do it this way if I did it, or oh man, I would have thought of a better villain than what you gave me. I was like, well, bitch, then write one. Like, fucking go do it. I'll play your game. Like, let's have fun with it. And it felt good to see the writers poking fun at those people, because I mean, hell, there are times when if I hear one more time like, oh, well, that's just the vampire and he's easy to kill, I was like, bitch, I'm going to make it harder on you now. Like, how upset you have made me. And it felt good for writers to get that back. As a whole, the series is a solid 7.5 for me. There's some good, there's some bad, but that episode, it's an 8 because of the trolling.
For me, I'm gonna have to be like the complete opposite. I'm gonna have to give it like at least a 4, and I'm not doing it because I want to be a hater.
Yeah,
because I don't want to hate this stuff. Like, I know what Marvel's capable of because I've lived 10 years of it and I've seen them do like amazing things. And I just feel like right now with the characters they're introducing, being that these characters are not a part of the comic books and they're being put into arcs that don't belong to them. They belong to like the original Avengers, that they have to be more. They have to really take care of these guys. The same thing that happened to Miss Marvel. Like everybody tripped out when they called her a mutant. Yeah. And it wasn't even the fact that there's no one, there's like a handful of people that are Miss Marvel fans, right? But even those people, they didn't know how to react to that situation because it changed it drastically. And I think they need to take a little bit better care of these characters. Now, I'm not saying the show's not funny. The show had its comedy marks. For me, the actors all of them did fantastic. The actors are great. The actors are cool. They all pulled their parts off great. The writing sucks. Like the writing just sucks, dude. Like the writing is just, God damn it, the writing sucks. And the show just felt a little bit all over the place. I know that it was trying to be like the Ally McBeal, which is like a flavor of the week. Like each show doesn't have to correlate to each other. But I think like with the undermined story to where they were trying to make Jennifer and show you the depth of her character kind of go low to high to be okay and pride and confidence to drop the confidence and to the other stuff. It was so like a normal regular story that was in there, but then it was so separated by like the wedding episode. The wedding episode to me was like, what the fuck are we doing a wedding episode for? What the hell's going on? Like everything was just like, it was just really, really weird the way it was like what is it like the build up for every episode.
Yeah.
And again, I know Brian shit on me for this last week and I get it. Like he's not as avid of a comic book reader as I am, or I believe you are too. I was really disappointed with the way they handled Titania. Yeah. Because Titania in the comic book, even though she is a C-lister villain, she's still a huge villain in the Hulk universe. She's always constantly like either fighting the Hulk. She was in Fear itself as a hammer holder for like the Midgard Serpent. Like she has big parts. Like you would expect the way that they handled her character to be the same way they handled Creel in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, where they actually like brought him out. They gave him his powers. They showed like really cool parts of him. I think with just like with the whole idea of them wanting to be very meta and commentary and make jokes and pick on the audience that they wanted to pick on, like I think they just kind of forgot the idea of the storytelling part. Like I kind of think they left too much of it out. I think there could have been a better balance, but I just think they just didn't hit it. The show overall, I'll give like a 6. Like for me, like I'm telling you, like I like the references to the Living Tribunal. I like the reference to the wall breaking and them doing the writer's room. I see the references in the comic books, what they're doing, and I see the homages that they're doing. And I think they focus too much on being meta rather than giving us a solid character. Because again, like my biggest concern is where are we going next in the MCU? Like right now, I have zero faith with where they're going. The only thing I have faith in is Wakanda Forever. And I just know that deals with like 5 characters. Like, but everything else, I have no faith. I have no faith where they're going to take Strange. I have no faith with where they're going to bring back Wanda. I have zero faith with what they're doing with Vision. I have no faith with whatever they're giving me right now. Even Ant-Man, I have no faith in, because from Wasp and the Ant-Man, I can't imagine that dude throwing rounds with Kang. Like, there's no way I can see that guy fucking throwing rounds with a dude that's interdimensionally like the greatest threat in the time dimensional portal kind of thing. That's the only thing is and you see like the one thing I have faith in, Sal Segura is like literally Deadpool, and we got to wait till 2024 to see that. Or 2025. It's not like a big loss for me though, because I'm just going to chalk this up to being, it's a Hulk part. Like there's nothing with the Hulk. Like remember everything we got from Endgame and Infinity War for the Hulk. Yeah. It was pretty crazy, but yeah, the episode for me, I'm probably going to give like a 4 or a 3. I think that the ridiculousness was a little too much, and they needed to give me something solid. They even did like, dude, it was such a slap in the face to Daredevil fans just to have him like fall in.
Yeah, he just drops it out of nowhere.
Fucking sky, dude. Like there's no buildings. Like where the fuck did he come from? He just like zoop and he's like, I'm here, Jennifer. And she's like, oh, you're late. Like, oh, you're late. I was like, God damn it. It's so silly, dude. Yeah, but like I said, there was really good comedy parts overall, and I was pleasantly handled. We do have to do a discussion one day, and I know it's already late. I'm so sorry. I just love talking to you about this stuff. You're my nerd guru, man. We do have to do a Lord of the Rings one. Ring. because I know that that's a really big talking point too. Because a lot of there's a lot of turmoil both up and down for the J.R. Tolkien series and stuff like that. But and I know
especially with the announcement that happened tonight with the finale.
Have you been okay with it so far?
I have, and
Okay.
I'm not a heavy purist on the Silmarillion and how that timeline plays out, because that book reads like VCR instructions. It's difficult to fucking follow. It's this timeline encyclopedia of shit, the stuff that goes on in Tolkien's world, and it's a lot to take in. I mean, a lot, and especially with the vast bulk of lore coming from Lord of the Rings, comes from appendices he wrote in other books that's just added information for the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, like a bunch of cliff notes from other stories that they're trying to add into the story.
And they make mentions of dragons. They make mentions of demons and darkness, grand elves, and the deities that become the wizards of the world. And there's all these little footnotes that give this info. So you have peers that say, oh, well, no, Gandalf shouldn't appear because he's in the third age, not the first age or second age. And I was like, it doesn't fucking matter to everybody that's watching the series. The only reference they have were Peter Jackson's films. That's it. They just have the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy, which Hobbit shouldn't even have been a trilogy. I loved the book itself, but too much, too long. So nice. What we're getting in the Rings of Power is an exploration into what could have happened instead of the appendices and footnotes that we got. No, we get to see where Sauron comes from. Yeah. You get to see what hobbits start off as. What's in this
Halfwoods?
The Harfoots aren't hobbits. They're precursors to
precursors to them.
Yeah, so we're seeing.
Are they like a little bit smaller or bigger or some shit like that?
They're a little smaller, and then they're nomads. Hobbits are stationary. They stay in Bag End and their hobbit holes, and that's it.
Yeah, like I think they'll eventually introduce the Shire in the series, and that's where they're gonna that's where they're gonna plant. I think that's what's going to do.
Like we'll get into it, but what I really loved that the series did was they showed us the creation of Mount Doom and the creation of Gondor. That is fucking amazing because that's not covered anywhere.
Yeah, and not only that, like they've expanded on the world, they've expanded on everything, like the ocean with the fucking sea creature. They've expanded into the other realm that a lot of people didn't get to work with,
and that's because like in the appendices in the Silmarillion and other books, they make mentions of the sea monster, the sea dragon, and they make mention of, the one dragon that's 10 times the size of Smaug that flies around.
It reminded me of there was this book that I read in junior high a long time ago that was a really cool book. It was called The Wizard of Earthsea. And it reminds me of that because The Wizard of Earthsea has a bunch of different like novels. But like in the first one, it mentions like the Hand Island, it talks about the shadow, and there's so many really cool like little references that pick up on like the lure of the entire world. It's so cool, man. And I know that we have to have a discussion about this because I know that, we've heard about all the other stuff. And like we said before, we'd rather get the opportunity to watch it and judge it for ourselves. Everybody has their opinions on what it is. But that, again, what a beautiful time to be alive because we have all of this beautiful content to just watch and observe. Yep. Like, dude, like I'm literally complaining about a She-Hulk television show when I've never had that before. This is coming from like those memes TikToks where I could like show a picture of myself when I was like 12 and I'm watching the Ninja Turtles on television or like the X-Men 90 series. And I'm like, there's a She-Hulk series. Like, wow. Like that, what an opportunity. Like I tell people all the time, like shit on it or not, I'm just happy we got content. So.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's the best time to be a geek.
Yeah, pretty much.
The world is meant for us now, and it's something that my fiance and I talk about a whole lot. In high school and stuff, we were Dungeons and Dragons nerds. We talked about comic books, and those were always things that we really couldn't talk about with general people. They weren't cool. It wasn't football. It wasn't the Dallas Cowboys or whatever. And now nowadays those people are asking questions like, oh, you read all the books in the day, what's going to happen next? It's like, well, if it follows the comics, this, but I think it'll be this. And I mean, hell, I still get shit. My ex-wife sends me texts. He's like, hey, I just watched She-Hulk. Does this character exist in the comic? It's like it does, but not like the way they're showing it, and that's a different thing. It's a wonderful situation to have.
What a lot of people don't know is Mike's got pictures of himself looking like Eddie Munson back in the day. Running Dungeons and Dragons games with a big fucking perm and shit.
Hey, if I could have rocked it and not had the Mexican fro, I totally would.
Yeah, the Edgar and shit. All right, Mike, I gotta say, man, I gotta thank you for jumping on the show. It was a fucking honor, man. It was so fun. I was so like in my mind, I was like, you know what, Mike, I'll hit him up. I won't pressure him too hard because he's always doing some crazy shit. His life is super busy. I'll run a couple of things by myself and bring him in. He'll probably be tired, but holy fuck, dude! Like the energy throughout the show felt super good. I gotta say, man, that was a fun fucking show. I'm gonna
fall asleep in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, you're gonna crash the fuck out after this, but I'm super grateful. Thank you so much for hopping on with me, my buddy. Guys in the comics and girls in the comments, I want to thank you all for jumping on the show. If you're still watching, I appreciate every one of you. Thank you to our extraordinary listeners for jumping in with us, guys. If there's anything during the week that you want us to check out here on the Average Boys podcast or anything you want us to watch, don't be afraid to hit us up in our DMs. Make sure you message us, guys. Don't forget, October 29th, NanoCon, 80s Brewery, big video game competition, cosplay competition, $100 if you win first place. RJ Mitty, our boy's going to be out there hanging out with us, going to be just meeting and greeting, just hanging out. Vendors, Mike, probably not going to be there because he's going to be doing study stuff. Margaret will be there, and of course all our good friends from the cons experience will be out there. Shout out to my boy Brian, who's, I hope, fucking 100 beers in, drunk off his mind, fucking ripping off his shirt and running through the crowds naked. I hope you're out there having a good fucking time, my dude. And I'll see you
like fucking She-Hulk.
Oh, yeah, you better be twerking like She-Hulk, man. That's all I gotta say. Guys, I gotta say thank you so much to our extraordinary listeners. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys again next Friday here on the show. We appreciate every one of you. Wash your cake, Cole, and I'll see you next week. Laters.
Bye.